And then we got number 13. Number 13.
Weighing in at whatever Cougars they weigh in, the best team in Utah. It's BYU.
That's right, Buzz. Best team in fucking Utah. Let's go, bud.
Yeah, Weber State did just lose, I think, to team, so maybe.
Hey, I do gotta say though, this team is look. I was a little nervous about this Arizona game, especially since Arizona was ranked coming into the season. I feel like this was going to be kind of their first test.
And welcome back to another episode of your favorite Couch Potatoes. I am your host, Jay Cubs, joined as always by Feisty and Big Country. And boy, let me just say, after Friday night, I was not looking forward to coming on here at all. I was very depressed. I told my fiance that it sounded nice I should go to the gym tomorrow and put 3 plates on the bar and just see what happens. And then on Saturday, I will admit I was rooting against a couple of teams and they ended up winning anyways. And I'm like, great. You guys already know how I felt about Sunday and the news with the Patriots. So I'm like, but then I had myself a good Sunday. So we're back. We're back up there. So we're ready. I'm ready so let's get into it. Before we get into football, as always, let's talk about the sports news around the world, starting with the WNBA Finals, which is currently tied 1-1 after the Lynx take game 1 in an overtime victory, 95-93, and then the Liberty bounced back in a strong way, 80-66, to tie the series up at 1-1. And Feisty, you had the Lynx in this series, right? Did you pick against Sabrina again, or did you get her this time?
Not Serena and no. This was the first game was really close. I think it came down to I forgot her name. One of the Liberty players. She had a chance to win it at the free throw line, and she ended up missing one of the free throws, and then they ended up going overtime, and the Lynx ended up pulling away. So props to them. And then the second game, what can I say? Except you're welcome. They just freaking killed them. So this just proves that they were just trying to let them have a little moment before it gets settled in. So looking forward to game 3. See how it ends up going. Hopefully it goes off to the Liberty. My girl Sabrina kid brings it home.
I guess I got to go for Minnesota. Like I said, the Minnesota Jazz, Utah, Minnesota, whatever. We got Alyssa Peely on there. I don't think she's playing, but she's on the team. So if she can get her a ring and bring it home, that'd be awesome. But let's move on to hockey because I can't believe we missed it. But Utah Hockey Club officially in the NHL. We're playing games now, and they're off to a hot start, actually. They started off 3-0, defeating, I remember, Connor Bedard and the Chicago Blackhawks in game 1 in dominating fashion. And, I don't really understand what's going on still. I try to figure it out, but it's pretty tough. But yeah, we lost to the New Jersey Devils, I think, a day or two ago as our first loss of the season. But starting off pretty strong, so maybe it'll be good season for the hockey club.
Half of the time, I'm trying to still look for the pot. What is it called?
Yeah, I can't see that thing ever.
Yeah, like half of the time, like either fight or I'm looking for it. So
Well, hey,
it's like, oh, what a shot there. And I'm like, where?
And Utah really turned out for those first 3 games of the season. I believe that all 3 of them were at home, if I'm not mistaken, to start off the season. And Utah really showed up and turned out for the new teams.
Let's go. We're excited about it. It's my new hockey team. So yep, we're in it. I can't wait. I have been to like Grizzlies games, and honestly, they're fun in person. Like those fans are just nuts. Hockey fans are different. I saw on opening night, beer sales were broken by like a mile.
Nice.
for any Delta Center event. So hockey fans, they sound like my kind of people. So maybe I'll have to get more into it. But let's move
My
on.
kind
I
of
wanted
people.
wanted to talk. I saw this today. I'm not even going to attempt Feist. If you want to, I'm not going to. Her last name, but she first name is Ruth from Kenya. I know that's your home country. I don't know if you have any way that
Uh,
you would know how to say
yeah.
that.
I don't know how to say her name. It's might be like a more Swahili kind of name, but she ends up breaking the Kenyan record for the
The world
marathon,
record.
world record
Yeah.
for the marathon. Yo, can Kenyans run
Kenyans,
or
man.
what?
Kenyans can run.
Hey, what
Gosh
was her
dang.
time?
209.56. So she's the first woman ever to break 210. So yeah, really impressive performance in a freaking 26-mile race. That is insane. So congrats to her, props to her.
26.2 to be exact. Thank you very much. So, it was just crazy because like she did the first one, like the first like half mark, she got it in like an hour and 5 minutes,
Mm,
which would have been like I think I said the fifth highest, like fastest in women's, and so and then the second lap or I guess the second half, not second lap, she was able to do it like just as fast, and so crazy how some of those people can run it just as fast as they do, and
same pace.
I mean, those Kenyans, bro, they're skinny, and the lighter you are, I always used to say this, dude. I'm not so light no more, as you can see, baby. But I used to say, the lighter you are, the faster you go. So, I mean, I'm just excited for her and to see her represent hometown, baby.
Hell yeah. Good for you guys. Good for her. That's impressive.
Then our viewers will be like, USA, USA, USA. Just kidding. Moving on from that, super excited for that. Let's talk about the new big wow that's going around in the NBA league. The Clippers, baby.
Your favorite
One
team.
Los Angeles team somehow has to always find their way into the headline, and so they just revealed their new high tech stadium. It's called Intuit Stadium or whatever, and so some funny things that like are going around that are hilarious. So the owner, I forgot his name, but he's
Steve
former
Ballmer.
CEO. Yeah, he's a former CEO of Microsoft. He spends about $2 billion of his own money on this stadium. So there was no like nobody else helped me except his money. He is super excited about toilets. I
It's
don't know
the
if you guys saw the
toilets.
video
I
that's going
hate people
around.
having to
I
wait
did
in
see.
line.
He goes, "There's 1,400 toilets around the stadium, but he doesn't want people waiting in line more than 60 seconds for a toilet, and he wants people back in their seats, watching the game, enjoying the game." A couple other things. They have the I don't know if you guys have seen the SoFi Stadium where they have the whole TVs wrapped around, so it's like a
Mhm.
mile long TVs that you can basically do anything with. And then they have sensors in the stadiums now on the seats where they're able to detect who's the loudest throughout the game. They can do competitions that way. And then the
Oh
coolest
boy.
part is that they have this thing called the wall, and that's just literally the home team. So the Clippers can only supporters of the Clippers can only sit there, and it kind of like stands super above. And what it does is you cannot wear any of the away team jerseys over there. You cannot cheer for the away team. It's only for the home team, which is going to be the coolest thing because in soccer they do that. So like in soccer they have, which is your favorite sport, Mr. Jacobs.
Yes, sir.
If you didn't know that, Ronaldinho. Um, but it's kind of cool because like they have it where you don't support the home team or you don't support the away team, and everybody kind of stays with the home team. They just get super wild there, so that's going to be interesting. Some people are calling it the new revolution of stadiums to see what other teams do. And $2 billion is a lot, boys. I don't know what you could do with $2 billion, but you build a new stadium.
Do a
Something a
lot.
lot different than that.
I love the toilets. That's so awesome. I've never seen a man so passionate about it. But hey, shorter times, I'm here for it. And Man, if the Jazz ever do anything like that voice detector thing, see who's the loudest, I'm gonna lose my voice every single time. I don't want to be that
Well, you
one.
do already, so
Yeah, but now when I'm going in a competition, oh boy, I'm gonna have to get surgery or something like that. After that's gonna be terrible, but
remind me
that would be
not to
fun.
go to some Jazz games with you this year. If they ever put those in the seats,
Let's
remind
just
me
hope
never
they
go to a
don't.
Jazz game.
Although there's not going to be much to cheer about, so that's okay. We'll be fine.
That's
We'll be
okay.
fine.
There's Cody Williams.
Yeah, that's pretty sick.
Yeah, that's gonna definitely revolutionize the arena type of world. We'll have to see what ends up happening and how that turns out because they want to make it where like away teams are like, wow, we want to be here, right? Like they're so impressed with the stadium. And then they also said that they're not going to track what you're doing as far as like talking and stuff. They just want to see if there's competitions. Um, that if there's competitions, they can see the fan who's the loudest and give away free hamburgers. That's another thing he was very passionate about. So we'll have to
You
see
got
on
me
that.
before the free hamburgers.
Well, beer and hamburgers, that's
Are
number one
they are
American.
they uh are they playing in it this season or is it next season?
I actually didn't see that. I think that so they did. I'm sure that they are because they had Bruno Mars have a concert there. So he had a 2 night concert there. The first night didn't go so well because they have like it's super advanced. It's like high tech where people have to scan in your face. Like it kind of slowed down the concert that first night, but then the second night went well. So I'm assuming that they're going to be playing there this year. It should be good to go, especially if they're having concerts there. But I'm excited for it. I look forward to it. I hate the Clippers, but I look forward to seeing that stadium.
Be
So,
interesting to
and
see.
also, actually, while we're on that, did you see Paul George is crying? He has a bruised elbow, and Kawhi
Did you
Leonard can't play.
did
Oh
you see it's Paul George's knee? Did you see the picture of how he hyperextended it?
no, I didn't. I just know that
It
he's a little biatch.
Somebody's calling it the zestiest injury of all time.
What did he even do?
His ass was sticking out and his arm was back like this, and then his knee was just you could tell it was getting hyperextended, but it was just yeah a funny look,
Typical
for sure.
typical Clippers. Kawhi Leonard not being able to play at the beginning of the season. Paul George, or not Paul George. Yeah, Paul George sucks anyway. But they looked up their new starting five, and it's like Terrence Mann, and they literally have nobody on that team. So f that team. Moving on from that, from a Hall of Fame stadium, new arena to a Hall of Famer, Vince Carter,
Oh,
baby.
yeah.
2024 class of Hall of Famers. Chauncey Phillips was also a well-known name in this, but I just wanted to give his roses, man. We kind of mentioned him last week, I think, or 2 weeks ago. But what a Hall of Famer! I don't know a whole lot of people that can't say that Vince Carter electrified basketball, the NBA league, and the way he was able to do it, and how loyal he was to the Toronto, and like just good to see. You know, he's a good guy, and I'm happy for him. So I just wanted to give him his roses.
Heck yeah, yeah. And I mean, playing the only player to play in 4 different decades is pretty crazy, and he was electrifying in different ways into the later parts of his career. I still remember that the game winner he hit with. He was with Dallas. I can't remember if it was a game 7 or just some other game in the series, but he was, that kind of guy that you could count on, even when he didn't have the crazy athleticism that he had in his younger years. But yeah, definitely deserving. I think Chauncey Billups, another guy who's kind of a little more under the radar, but very solid throughout his career. So I feel like that's well
Distance,
deserved as well.
yeah, no, for sure. Good to see them both get their roses. Um, hopefully, they come in. I think Chauncey's already coaching, but Vince Collar has a lot of knowledge, so I'm sure he'll end up being somewhere in the NBA coaching or being involved in a team. So we'll have to keep an eye out on that. Moving on, let's talk about Scottie Pippen
What's
Jr.
he doing now? Oh,
So he has been signed to the Grizzlies on a multi-year contract. He had a great summer league this year. He had 21.5 points, 8.7 assists, 5 rebounds, and led them to the championship game. And so they're all in on him. I'm excited to see what he ends up being. He's not as quite like built like his dad, but I'm excited for him to see what he can do with the Grizzlies, especially since Derrick Rose retired. They need that two-way guard, so we'll have to
Yeah,
see what ends up happening. Him.
very impressive summer league stats, and to get a multi-year guaranteed deal from the Grizzlies shows that they believe in you. So
Yeah,
good for him, man. And hey, we're only a week away from the NBA season. It's already here, so let's go. Can't wait.
you can tell I'm excited, baby.
I can't wait to go 35 and whatever the rest of that is.
What's
I
the
can't
worst
wait for
record?
Shay
What's the
to
worst
win the
record in
MVP.
NBA history?
What's the worst record?
I want to say it was like a 10 or 12 win team. Do you know, Feist?
I'd probably say it would have to be
The
like I
Utah
remember
Jazz
Golden State was
2024.
pretty bad back in the days.
Oh yeah, the
They were very good.
Bobcats. I
Yeah,
remember that season. It was the lockout season. The Charlotte when they were the Bobcats, they went 7-59 with a .106 winning percentage.
nice. Oh, that would make
You
sense because
think
they kind of
so?
suck.
What's your prediction this year? Who's going to be the worst team in the league?
Whew, the Pistons are still a team, I believe, so they definitely are one to consider. Who else in the West? I feel like the West is doing
There's the
pretty good.
Jazz.
I don't know if the Jazz will be at the bottom
I
bottom.
don't think they will be there, but I just wanted to throw it in there because Kyle's like everybody else but the
Oh,
Jazz.
Portland. Portland probably is going to be one of them. I think San Antonio's improved. I don't know that they're going to
Yeah,
be
I
a
think that
big
they'll
team,
go
but
better with CP3. Him bringing that veteran presence, and I think he's going to do really well with the pick and roll with Alien Man.
Shortest guy in the league with the tallest guy in the league. Is that what
Yeah,
that is?
maybe Charlotte. I think Charlotte is going to be pretty bad as well.
Charlotte. Toronto doesn't really have anybody anymore.
Yeah,
Charlotte's a
they're
good
full
one.
on rebuild, so I think they
The
actually might be
Bulls,
the worst
maybe.
one.
And Wizards. Oh boy, that reminds me. Our buddy Sean, he sent me a clip of Kyle Kuzma breaking Ben Simmons' ankles and then airballing the three. And I was like, we gonna see both these guys in China pretty soon, or
Hey, actually, Ben Simmons has been people been talking about highly of him that he's finally officially like healed up. He looks like he's ready for the season. I mean, it's just a
I'll
matter
believe
of
it
time
when I
before
see
he
it.
sucks. But yeah, I'll believe it before when I see it. But it'd be good to see finally him live up to his potential because he freaking sucks.
Yeah, I don't know. You might be the only person that still wants to see that guy live up to his potential. I could give a shit less.
All I know is he is the hardest person to go against when you're playing 2K. Like he just bullies you for no reason, dude. And
He
I
was
get
supposed
so
to be
annoyed
that good. That's how good they thought he was going to be.
with yeah, I'll have to see
Well,
how this NBA season goes.
yeah, I'm excited for it, but honestly, not as excited as this football season still. And we're rolling. Before we get into the games, I wanted to talk to you guys about this. I saw this over this last week. So this company called Nilly is offering college athletes just straight up upfront cash in exchange for a portion of their NIL deals. The cash offers can range from $25,000 to hundreds of thousands of dollars. And in exchange for that, Nilly will get exclusive rights to the athlete's name, image, and likeness for up to 7 years. And the company will receive 10 to 50%, 50, of the athlete's NIL earnings during that time. One more thing to note, Kendrick Perkins is a part owner in this company. He said that he wants to provide immediate financial assistance to these athletes and their families, and saying that they're taking a risk, in how successful these athletes are be. So that's like their
What?
side of it.
Okay, time out. Wes, do you want to grill him or do you want me to grill him first?
You go right ahead, buddy.
I knew
You go
This
right
is
Feisty would
ahead.
like this
oh my
segment.
gosh, Kendrick Perkins is the biggest freaking pyramid scam mother effer you'll ever see, bro. This guy, are you serious? Okay, first break it down, right? 7 years. A player can go into in any league the first right after the first year of their college
Unless they're
and
Cam
be
Rising.
very successful. We'll get to
Cam
that later. We won't hit that button for you yet. But like, and then get 10 to 50% of the NIL deal. Like, I don't get what. the athlete would be getting out of this, because they're obviously making way more money from the NIL deal than they would be making from these freaking pyramid chumps. Like immediate financial assistance to the athletes and their families. Bro, get your broke ass out of here, man. You do not say that to get young athletes to come. I thought it was more of a agent thing. Like they were gonna get their names out more, or whatever, get
I
them
think
deals. But it
there's
sounds like they're trying to
some of
steal.
that. I think there's some of that. Like that's why they get a portion of like whatever the athlete makes, but depending on the deal, yeah, 10 to 50%.
Yeah, I would say run a mile the other way from that deal.
It's just so it's like a I don't even know how to explain this. I mean, I don't know, and I'm not big of a financial guru as maybe Feist is, but this whole thing is just it you read it up front in the stuff that you just put out, and it seems like a damn scam.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? And I understand,
pyramid.
I understand the side of it where they're like, we're taking a risk for a 7-year contract because these guys might not, they might be like Cam Rising and play for 20 years in college, or they'll go into college for 1 year, sign this nilly deal, and then go right into the NFL. You know what I mean? Like, and that 10 to 50% when you make an NFL money, that's a lot of money. So I don't know. This whole scheme this is something I might believe it if Shaq was in it. Yeah, I might.
Yeah, seriously. Like, give me somebody who's actually credible, like that I can actually trust. Like, okay, so I just did quick numbers real quick. If so, Cam Rising gets paid 2.6 million a year, right, from his NIL deals. I just have to
How
like
much
this
does
is
Dylan
just.
Gabriel get paid?
Don't worry about that. We don't talk about that. We'll get into that later. They're under investigation, actually. But so Cam Rising, you called it earlier. He gets paid 2.6 million a year. 10% of that is 260. If, for example, let's say that just within that year they're making 260 a year, versus like if that guy was able to sign with that freaking pyramid scheme, they're making more money off of him than he would by himself. Like that just does not make sense to me. Hundreds of thousands, like what does that mean? Because they're making millions off of just one sponsor, right? Let alone like people like Shador Sanders. I get it; those people wouldn't sign with somebody like this, but this is like where you're gonna get young athletes that are in like Division 3, they're in Division 2, maybe even a JUCO school where they're like, "Oh, I can get money right away." No, it's a freaking scam. It's a trap. 7 years of your life. That's how long it takes to get rid of a bankruptcy under your name. Just so you know, like,
Yeah, I don't know if I read the whole article. I didn't see anything as far as like, I don't know if they're going to network, like if they can network these athletes a little bit more than what they'd be able to do themselves. I don't know. To me, it seems like, a way to kind of prey on these kids and families that are not in as, good of a financial situation. And, here's a check for $100,000. It's a lot of money to just pass up. So I think that might be what they're,
yep.
trying to go after. But definitely a weird situation. Yet another wrinkle in this NIL saga that we have. And yeah, yeah, exactly what I said. Just another wrinkle, just another thing to add on to the
Well,
craziness and the unpredictability of what we're living in college football these days.
if Kendrick Perkins is involved, just run the other way. That's all I'm saying, bro. Like Wes said, like Big Country said, if Shaq was in this, sure, I'd think about it. Kendrick Perkins, come on.
Well, that's just because Shaq has made millions off of his own investments, and he's had people to help
Giving
him along the
back.
way.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's given back to his communities, and now unless somebody like really comes up to him and asks him, can you help me financially? Because I can't remember what the exact stat is, but I think it's 5 years after a major sports athlete retires,
Go
they
broke.
go bankrupt.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because they
Yep.
spend it all so fast and they don't invest
And that's
and
where
all
getting
this
that
stuff.
upfront cash is going to maybe be bad, worse for especially not even professional athletes, but like kids.
Yeah. Like a
So
JUCO
that
kid.
could be even worse.
100%, man. This is just as a big scam, and if it was my kid, I'd literally tell him, like I said, once again, run the other way, my boy.
Believe in yourself and just believe in the deal that you've gotten already, I guess. So it wouldn't be a news segment without Deion Sanders, because who is always in the news headlines? It'd be Mr. Deion Sanders. This time he was complaining, and I think last year he did the same thing, complaining about the late kickoff times. And he has a point where half the country, what he says, like, it's stupid because half the country's asleep.
Yep.
Yeah, but you know that, like, especially Colorado, they're in a lot of night games. You're getting a lot of eyes because Texas and Georgia have already played and Alabama's already played. So like the Oregon and Ohio State game, that wasn't super late. It was 5:30, but still a nighttime prime time game, all eyes pretty much
Yeah.
on that game. So I don't understand this, why you would complain about something like that. And you're in the West Coast. It's been what it's been. You have colleges like LSU. I heard Nick Saban tell a story about when he got there, because when he got there, they had sucked the year before. They were like 3-8, and he said the better team, like the best teams, played in the 2:30 slot back then. They always wanted to go in the 2:30 game and CBS or whatever it was. And when he got there, LSU got a lot better, and they started playing in that 2:30 slot. And LSU fans were pissed because they like playing at night. So, like a lot of colleges, I know the U loves playing at night, love playing at night. So I don't really understand why you would complain about something like this. I feel like you're going to get more eyes, even though half the country's asleep, when you're in a primetime slot.
Well, I mean, and the thing is too is like I went to the BYU game where they beat Kansas State, or you know what I mean, and that 8:30 game, our time, and didn't get out till what would it be, like 11:30, almost 12 o'clock.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's I mean, if you love your team, and Colorado, I know, has fans across the country just because of Deion Sanders.
Right.
They're gonna have viewership. It's not that half the country is asleep. I know that Deion's only coaching to get his son into the NFL. You know what I mean? And
Amen.
wants all eyes on his sons. But
I don't know if he wants any more eyes on Shiloh after that performance. I don't know if you guys saw that. Motherfucker's getting his ankles broken on every play. Sorry, I know I interrupted. I think that was a good one. So go ahead.
He said,
I
boy
don't know,
needs
man.
some milk.
And that 8:30 slot too, like that's the only game playing, right?
I mean, there will be other
Usually,
games,
but
but
they're
usually
finishing
there's
up.
one good 8:30 game, I feel
Yeah.
like.
Yeah, so I mean, you can think of it just like a prime Sunday night football game. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Because there's all eyes are going to be on your program still. I mean, yeah, the people in New York are going to be asleep, maybe some of them, but I don't know.
How many people in New York are going to be watching Colorado anyways? I mean, now
Yeah.
with a Dion, maybe a few more, but it's still not, like college teams are very, unless you are, which Colorado isn't yet, Alabama, Oregon, Ohio State, Michigan, you're not going to get the national audience unless you prove yourself. So,
But that's why you said that the best teams get the 2:30 slot, so that way
Yep.
the whole nation can watch them play.
Well,
Right.
and the other thing too is like last 2 weeks ago when we were watching the Steelers game, like weather delays. That thing didn't finish until like what 1 their
One
time.
local time, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
1 a.m. local time.
Like, and it finished 11 o'clock our time. So like, or almost 12. Like, it is what it is, man. It's unpercent. Like, it's just something you don't see. Like sometimes weather delays can make that happen, and sometimes it's just how it plans out. Like I really don't get what he's complaining about. Regardless, like go play football, dude.
Make a better football team, and maybe
Ah,
you could be in the 2:30 slot.
just wait until Shiloh doesn't get his ankles broken.
They had a tough game, man. Tough game. But let's get into the AP poll. Texas stay at 1. I wasn't able to catch this game, but Wes, I know you were. What were your thoughts on this game versus Oklahoma in the Red River rivalry?
Yeah, man. I got to catch it. I was sitting in a bar watching the BYU game, and this other game was on at the same time, so I figured I'd watch it. But no, it was at the beginning it kind of seemed pretty even. Quinn Ewers was really slow to start, a lot of rust on him. I feel like coming back off of injury, but then Texas just took off at some point in the second quarter. The team just completed all three phases of the game. Um, they dominated Oklahoma on defense. Quinn Ewers finally decided to get into his rhythm, and Texas looked like the number one team in the nation. So, just some crazy plays though that happened. Texas running back Jaden Blue got a huge 30-yard run. This was when they were up by a score, I believe. This is really what kicked off the Texas really, beating on Oklahoma. But running back Jaden Blue gets a huge 30-yard run. He fumbles into the end zone from the 5-yard line. And then the wide receiver Salias Bolden runs 50 yards in the play. He lined up on the other side of the formation, ran all the way through the backfield, all the way like 40 yards to the end zone, and gets the fumble recovery in the corner of the end zone for a
Yeah.
touchdown.
Holy
Just
shit.
insane play. But that play is really what kicked off Texas and what made them look like the number one team in the nation at that point. But like I said, Texas just dominated Oklahoma all three phases of the game. That wasn't really a competition after the second quarter.
Yeah, I got a glimpse of this game as well too, and I saw that play where he wasn't even involved in the play,
Mm-hmm.
so he just like basically said, "You know what? I'm just gonna keep running," and he just kept running. And I was hoping that they would punch it out. I don't know why, but I was like, punch it out, let it be a touchback. So, but it was a really good game at the beginning, and then like you said, that Ewers threw an early interception too, and I kind of like made you a little like, ooh, Texas is gonna be struggling, but they ended up picking up, and once they once they picked it up, one just never went down. So, rocket.
There you go. Hey, it sounds like Steve Sarkisian's got those boys buzzing and got when a team that's that talented is also displaying that level of effort. I think that's why you saw those Alabama teams dominate and Nick Saban go on that run that he did for so long. And I think that's it's the attitude. You can have all the talent in the world. I'm not sure Nick Saban has some famous quotes on it, but I think talent doesn't replace effort. I don't know, something like that. But when you got both and you got that effort from your guys who aren't involved in the play, that's impressive. So, going to be exciting. Texas, Georgia this week. Top 5 matchup yet again. I'm not sure where they're at, but either way, it's going to be a tough environment. So, that's the number 1 team. Number 2 team.
Throw my hands and shout. Hey, hey, hey. You make me wanna. You make me wanna. Ooh. Dude, I actually thought about dyeing my face green. I just thought that was a
Be
little
pure green.
extreme. Number 2 team in the nation is your boys, the Ducks, man. This was as much as I'm celebrating, this was a game that stressed me the heck out. Like the whole entire game, it was a back and forth kind of affair. Ohio State would go up, we would come back, and then we kind of settled for a little bit, and then the second half happened, and it was entertaining, especially that it wasn't supposed to be an onside kick. They acted like it was an onside
Oh,
kick,
yeah.
but it wasn't an onside kick. I
We
think
just nailed the dude.
he hit him so hard, and it just bounced right back to us, and that kind of set us up. I honestly think though there were some good opportunities that we missed, um, because we would go three and out, and I was just like it irritated me, but we end up coming up with the win, 32-31. The Ducks go quacking.
Hey man, that was maybe the game of the year. That was really awesome. Super entertaining, like you said, back and forth. Really fun game to watch. You had some defense, you had some offense. I think Ohio State played a crazy good game, and we'll get into them in just a sec. Because, like I told you, if this was a close game, the loser's not going to fall too far down.
Yeah.
I did have a couple of thoughts I did want to mention because it was just so dumb. I forget his name. You would know it. The wide receiver that
Oh,
spat
Holden.
in the was it
Yeah, I forgot this. Oh my gosh. Go ahead, and I'll tell you he's an idiot right after.
yeah, spat in the face of a defender that they had been jawing the whole game, but like it was just so unnecessary. Like the defender had stopped, he had stopped. Like what's his name again?
Holden.
Sorry, Golden.
Holden. Yeah, he goes.
He
"Ha,
turns him back around and spits. I'm like, right in front of the official too. The official's right here, and he's. That was so
Oh
dumb,
man.
and I thought that could have been a huge blow for you, you know.
And it was
So.
like you could tell how much of they rely on his because Holden is like a deep route kind of receiver. So all the
Mhm.
times we always Dylan Gabriel always finds him on the deep route because they're so focused on Tez Johnson and a big shout out to Yvonne Stewart. He had a big game. I think that like without him being in that game, I think we would have been like clamps down because Tez Johnson wasn't doing anything. But that was the dumbest play of the whole game. Like you've already started talking, and then he just goes, "Toot." Like what are you doing, bro? You're not the Hawk Tua girl. Like what are you doing, bro? And then he comes back and sits on the sideline with his hoodie, and he's like, "Oh, bro, I'd have told him to hit the bus early, man. Go watch the game from the buses, man." That just irritated the shiz out of me. And I know probably Dan Lanning probably like ripped into him because that was a big game that we needed him, and he
Yeah, so that was in the first half, right?
first I think it was like first quarter.
Might have been, yeah. It was early. It was definitely early.
Way to let the defense get under your skin so fast.
And it didn't like that was the thing too. Like they weren't like in each other's face, like going crazy. Like they were talking, and he just decided that is so freaking dumb. But didn't ended up working out for you guys. You still get the win. One other thing I did want to mention in my thoughts was the intentional 12-man penalty. I saw this. It was very obvious that they were trying to do this intentionally, and I'm like, what? Why would they do? What are they doing? You can't do that at this point in the game. But it was intentional, and it ran, I think, 4 seconds off
4
the clock.
seconds.
They had they
Yeah.
had 10 seconds left in the game. Brought it back down to 6, and Dan Lanning fully admitted that this was an intentional choice. And then the NCAA came in and said they are examining this play, and potential in-season action could come from this. My thing is, I think even in the article too, they said it was a loophole in the rules. The rules don't say anything against it. It's your own fault if the rules aren't, good enough to prevent something like this from happening. Bill Belichick, famous for doing that. I don't know if you
Yep.
remember the stupid Jets game. We were killing them, and he kept taking intentional delay of games because the clock would still run. So he'd just run. He was sitting around on the sideline, just smiling, laughing about it. And that's exactly the same thing here. So even though I'm not an Oregon fan, I would be pissed if I saw any in-season action from this play. You can go in and change the rule next season, fix it, but come on, NCAA, that's bullshit to do if you are going to do anything about it.
Yeah, that's called 1,000% IQ. Like Dan Lanning just outsmarted him, and then freaking I forgot their quarterback's name, but he just
Will
takes off.
Howard,
Yeah, freaking Mr. Howard just takes off, slides, and I actually was pissed when they got that penalty on them because I didn't understand it at the moment.
right?
Afterwards, I was like, "Damn, that was smart." So sorry, Wes, you wanted to say something because Oregon a little bit softer now, a little bit softer now.
Hey man, I just want you to remember that last week that I picked Oregon with you. So
You did.
Hey, the sucky part is we have to do it again in the
Oh,
championship
in the
game.
Big
If they end
Ten.
up,
it's always
yeah,
harder to beat teams twice, I can tell you that.
they definitely won't be doing a 12-man intentional penalty. That's for sure.
Yeah, well, I didn't really catch much of this game, even though it probably was the highlight of the weekend. I didn't, but congrats to Oregon. I said it last week. They got to go out and prove it now. They got to go out and prove that they've made the improvements, because at the start of the season, they did not look like the Oregon everybody thought they were going to be.
Yeah.
And I said last week, they need to come in. They need to prove it. This is going to be their prove it game against a really good Ohio State team. And they did, pulled it out. Really close game, but now you got to do it a second time, just like you said.
Yep.
Hey, that's your statement win there, though, Feisty. I mean, no matter how much you beat Ohio State by, that's a statement that proves you belong, like Wesley was saying. So, congrats on that dub, and yeah, you're looking good forward. I'd say that was definitely your hardest, but do you have any other
we have
intense
Purdue
games coming
next
up?
on Friday. And then I don't remember who else we have after that at the top of my head, but I know the rest of the season is not too bad because we don't play Michigan. I
You
don't think
do.
that we
You
play Penn
play.
State.
I just pulled it up. You got number 22 Illinois in a couple weeks. You're at Michigan in 3 weeks. You got Maryland, Wisconsin
Wait, we
at
play
home versus
Michigan?
at Michigan November 2nd.
I thought we only play Ohio State this year.
No, you got them both, buddy. And in the big house, I think they call it in Michigan. So that might be tough, but I think you guys will be able to handle it for sure.
Yeah, Michigan suck anyway, so.
Well, Washington beat them. Maybe that Washington rivalry will be something, but we'll have to see. Moving on down the list, Penn State up one into the top three. So 2 Big Ten teams up there. This was a crazy game, though. They beat USC in overtime. It was a very good. USC had chances multiple times in this game to pull it out, but Penn State avoids the upset, jumps up one spot in the AP poll to number 3.
Yeah, I watched this game a little bit. It was a good game. I thought the USC had them the whole entire time. And then somehow Penn State, because I think did you say they were up at halftime?
I don't remember if they were up
Okay.
at. It was
Yeah,
pretty
they were up
close.
at halftime by I think like 2 touchdowns or something like that. And then Penn State just rallied back and USC doing USC things, blowing leads. And it was kind of cool because like the Penn State players wanted to, the whole flag, put the flag in the logo.
Oh yeah, I saw
And
that.
then their coach comes back and was like, no, 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 let's not do that. Like that. So I think he's building something over there. Stay undefeated for them. We'll have to see what ends up happening with Penn State because now they play Ohio State as well. So I'm hoping that they'll do some damage with Ohio State. And Ohio State just doesn't have a chance to play us again. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
A little bit
if
louder
they lost
now.
that game, I think they'd probably be out of it.
Yeah.
So that'd be interesting. Speaking of that planting the flag, I forgot about this, but Texas did that to Oklahoma.
Yeah.
After beating them in the Red River rivalry, and they asked Baker about it because obviously that's what they were doing it in reference to. And Baker said, just a small kid from Texas who's been living in their head rent free for 10 plus years now. So, bam, got him. That's
They
the
ripped up his
perfect
jersey.
response.
Like I don't know if you guys saw that. Like
Right,
they
and
were just
put it.
going a little too crazy about it. Like
Hey,
they
but
were
what
taking
a perfect
pictures.
response from Baker, man. Don't have to get like too personal or anything. That's pretty good. That's pretty damn good. Because I think he said too. I think that he never lost to them in the Red River rivalry. I'm not sure on that, but I think that's what he said. Could be wrong, but let's move on down. Ohio State drops 2 spots, so just down to number 4. Not surprising. I think that's fair. They obviously got to drop below Oregon, and Penn State goes there. So 3 Big Ten teams back to back, and then you got Georgia at 5 after defeating Mississippi State 41-31. Your friend Mario Cristobal and the Miami Hurricanes stay at 6 after a bye week. Bama is at 7, staying there after almost losing to South Carolina. South Carolina scored a touchdown in the final seconds. It wasn't quite a Hail Mary, but it was a long touchdown pass, barely snuck it in, and then failed the 2-point conversion to force overtime. But I'm a little surprised. I thought Bama might have dropped at least a spot or two after barely beating South Carolina. Not a good couple weeks for him for sure.
Alabama, Alabama. I think I've become the Stephen A. Smith of Alabama and Miami and Tennessee just sucking. I just
Well,
love to see it,
you
bro.
had to do something because he does it to the Dallas Cowboys every week.
Hey,
So.
well, we're not getting there, bro. We not.
You had a good Saturday, Feist. You had a good
I
Saturday.
had a great Saturday. I was hoping that this game Alabama would have lost, but somehow they just keep finding ways to pull. And I agree with you, Jacobs. I think that they should have dropped at least a spot or two. Um, they beat the unranked team like by 2 points, So F Alabama.
That SEC's, man, it's going to be crazy going down the road because obviously Bama has that loss. Georgia lost to Bama. And then, I mean, if Texas beats Georgia, then I think that's pretty much securing their spot. But if Georgia beats Texas, it's kind of all up in there. I think Bama's road to get in the SEC championship is going to be the hardest out of any of these teams now.
Right.
But it'll definitely be interesting to see. Moving down, we got LSU with a big jump up 5 spots. Now, this was the other game actually going on at the Oregon Ohio State game. Caught the tail end of this, and it was a good fourth quarter and overtime to catch because LSU it looked like they were down and out of it, but they forced OT on a very long drive and then win it with a crazy touchdown in the end zone to get over Ole Miss. Ole Miss taking their second loss of the season already after all the high hopes for them. Then moving down, our top Big 12 team, Iowa State, continues to impress, moving up the leaderboards to number 9 after beating West Virginia 28-16. Clemson stays at 10 after defeating Wake Forest 41-14. And then Feist's Tennessee Volunteers dropping 3 spots after narrowly beating Florida. And we know how good Florida is. No, not Florida State, but Florida also sucks. So see why they dropped 3 spots here.
All I want to say is I want my 10% back. They are not putting up good entertainment games for fans to be charged 10 extra percent. So please tell them to bring me my money.
Well, Feisty, I have a question for you. Who you rooting for / picking in next week's game in Knoxville, Tennessee, when the Alabama Crimson Tide come to town and play the Tennessee Volunteers? Who you got there?
I'm hoping for a draw. Oh man, I'm rooting for Alabama. Right, still don't get the 10%, man. I'm gonna say it every week.
That's going to piss you off even more.
Just not getting on. So I will. Right, go ahead, Alabama.
Roll Tide, roll with them.
Roll Tide, baby. I don't give a damn about nothing but Roll Tide.
Don't give a piss about nothing but the Tide. All right. Well, then we got number 12, Notre Dame, dropping one, even though they killed Stanford 49-7. But that's Stanford. So, and then we got number 13. Number 13.
Weighing in at whatever Cougars they weigh in, the best team in Utah. It's BYU.
That's right, guys. Best team in fucking Utah. Let's go.
Yeah, Weber State did just lose, I think, to
Yeah.
so maybe.
Hey, I do gotta say though, this team is I was a little nervous about this Arizona game, especially since Arizona was ranked coming into the season. I feel like this was going to be kind of their first test after seeing how good that BYU is this year.
Yeah.
Felt like this was going to be kind of their first test as a good team. But game started off, they kind of went back and forth. Offense was real slow for BYU, but everything just clicked, man. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell
man.
you.
BYU.
Prayers were answered.
But yeah, so both opening up the game, both teams scored. The offense is going back and forth a little bit. They did seem a little slow there. But then BYU's defense, the thing that I said that they were going to be the worst at this season, turns out it's what they're best at. Um, shows you how much I love my team. But yeah, no, their defense gets a pick after Noah Fafita, the Arizona quarterback, throws a really bad interception to start the
Trying to
second
force
quarter.
it a
Yeah,
lot.
yeah, he
And I guess
was.
he's been known for doing that. I haven't really watched too much, but yeah, he was definitely doing that a lot in this game.
And then they take that down the field. They get I don't know if you guys saw this play, but BYU runs a crazy double pass that worked out to perfection. Crazy catch by LJ Martin too in the end zone. I mean, I think he almost dropped it. It was kind of like right in the breadbasket, but there was a defender there too. But yeah, double pass. Retzlaff throws to Chase Roberts, throws to LJ Martin in the end zone, touchdown BYU. And then we go back to BYU getting another interception, setting up the offense once again for another touchdown. The BYU gets another turnover that ends up going to a field goal. This is where they really start extending the lead 24-7 at this point. This is when I'm like, okay, now we got to see if we can protect the lead against a good team. And it ended up, just how you want it to end up. You know what I mean? They protected the lead pretty well. It seemed like towards the end there, they were kind of easing off the gas, which I didn't like. They let Arizona go down and get a touchdown and stuff like that. Defense was kind of letting up a little bit, but yeah, end up getting a late touchdown and seals the game. Now, hey, we get Oklahoma next week.
Ooh.
That'll
Oklahoma
be a
State.
test. That'll be a
Yeah,
test. Oklahoma State. Yeah.
Yep.
My bad.
I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't know how good they really are.
Well, I guess if the Utes can beat them, then I guess BYU can. So.
Here's the
They're
thing, though.
0-3 in the Big 12 too. That's Oklahoma State. They have no conference wins yet.
So here's the thing. So Utah beat Oklahoma. Arizona beat Utah. BYU beat Arizona. So I'm trying to do the math. 2 plus 2, 5 divided by. Forget about pi.
Kansas State killed Oklahoma. Don't forget that factor that in.
Oh,
Oklahoma
yeah,
State.
that's the pi.
Yep.
Put that back in there.
There you go.
So BYU is the best team in Utah.
Like I said, your alma mater lost, Feist. That was kind of an embarrassing loss this last weekend. Man,
that's all I gotta say. I'm good.
Dude, hey, when we did our predictions for this season, I think Feist, me and you, we continue to look like idiots. But even Wes, I think, what did you say?
I had them with 6 wins. So they're about to hit that total this week.
Yeah, they already hit that. I think their betting total was 4.5 or 3.5 for the season. Already killed that. And like we said, we said a lot of their harder games would be here in the early part of the season. And Kansas State was like their big one, and that they showed that wasn't a problem at all. So man, they're just rolling, and you just look at the rest of their schedule and you ask when are they going to lose? It's crazy. This Big 12 has been just a total flip flop. The high runners that were there to start this season are now at the bottom, and I think even before Colorado's game, because they're unranked, they lost to Kansas State, but they were up there towards the top 4 of it. So I think BYU and Iowa State are looking like the front runners. I think Texas Tech is up there. I haven't really been watching Texas Tech, but
they are
also up there undefeated.
I think Iowa State and Texas Tech have to play each other this year because I think the Big 12 they kind of just split it down the middle. I'm pretty sure. I don't know how exactly they do their scheduling, but BYU won't play either Texas Tech or Iowa State this year until the championship. That's their season.
Right.
Their season. I mean, their next biggest competition. I mean, really to fill out the rest of the season is really looking like Oklahoma State and Utah. That's really their only competition I can see in the last part of their schedule. So.
I am surprised though that they jumped only to 13 because they were 14 last week, right? Mm-hmm. I am kind of surprised with some of the teams that are being idle, like and LSU barely winning. Like I am very surprised that they only jumped up 1, even though like that just doesn't make sense to me. I was kind of thinking that they might have slipped to that 12th 11th spot, but
Well, I also think that the Big 12's a lot weaker than what the nation thought they was going to be this year. Because
yeah,
I think the Big 12 came in with what, four? Was it 4 or 5 ranked teams to start the
Yeah, I think
season?
it was at least we had at least I think it was four. It was Utah, Oklahoma State, Kansas State, and I think Iowa State was at the bottom
Yeah.
of the Big 12 ranked teams.
So now you only got 2 ranked teams left in the Big 12 with Iowa State and BYU.
And you never know because that like it's kind of like similar to the Pac-12 where the conference definitely has a chance to cannibalize itself, right?
yep, like
And
we
end up
beat
doing
down
that,
ourselves.
so because I think that above us we have what 2 ACC teams. Notre Dame's independent, but then it's all SEC and Big Ten, obviously. So yeah, the Big
Yeah.
12 looking a little bit weaker as a conference for sure, but not Iowa State and not BYU, man. They are killing it. I know I had to that you could tell I was stuttering a little bit. It was tough to say, but that's what they're doing, and you can't argue it. So
Come on, man.
good.
Give them their fruit, man. Come on.
That's pretty much me giving them their fruit, their
Hey,
flowers, whatever you want.
I give Utah their fruits and their flowers all the
Wait, we
time.
don't have to get into this, okay? That's nice of you. It's very nice.
But now I just get to enjoy what's happening this year. So
Oh man, I can't wait. But let's move on. Let's move on in the AP poll. Texas A&M's up one after a bye week at 14. Boise State at 15. Get this, Ashton Genty went off.
Did he?
Can you
Weird.
believe that? He got his 8th 50-yard rushing touchdown of the season, which is the most in a single season since 2018. He had 34 total touches, 231 total yards, which is his 4th game over 200 yards this season. And that is the most in the last 20 seasons. And they end up killing Hawaii 28-7. So up to 15 for Boise State. That's really impressive, especially for a Mountain West team, the only Mountain West team up there. So good for them, boys.
If
Um,
if he
hey, wait,
doesn't
hold
win
on.
Heisman, do you think there's going to be a problem?
I think that because it's a quarterback like driven award mostly, just kind of like the MVP in the NFL, but I give
This
him
guy's
my
How do you
Heisman
not?
right
this
now.
guy's this guy's putting up the numbers though.
Like, how do you not? Yeah,
I mean, he's carrying Boise State up the rankings,
literally.
like literally on his back.
Literally on his back.
Have you seen how he lines up in the backfield too?
Yes.
I've been seeing all the
Yes.
memes
You
about it
see the
lately.
Michael Myers one.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
You
yeah.
see the
yeah.
Michael Myers one? Yeah, literally.
literally just eyeing down every linebacker and corner that he's about to
Yeah,
stiff arm
dude.
on his way to the end zone. That's
I see-
literally what it is.
Bro, I saw this meme on Twitter of Sabrina Carpenter just standing like that, just like staring off. And the caption said Ashton Genty when he's going to go destroy a defense. Or something.
He just
Standing straight up.
he just wants to stare into those linebackers and defensive backs' eyes as they get, he wants to see the fear in the defense's eyes before he runs for another 200-yard game.
Bro, I couldn't imagine tackling him. I've seen some of the videos too where they're like, he's like, there's this video on TikTok where he's like, this guy created it. He's like, "Are you really trying to tackle me right now? Are you really trying to tackle me?
Yeah,
I'm gonna give you a chance to lay down right now."
I'm gonna give you a chance not to embarrass yourself. I'm gonna go score this touchdown. You just lay down, and I'll see you in the end zone.
And then it goes, and another touchdown by Ashton Jonty. And it's like, oh my gosh, dude, this guy, I literally just don't know why they wouldn't give him the MVP, the Heisman. Like, he's putting up the numbers, everybody's seeing him. Like, I know he's in the top 5 or top 3 at least now.
I wanted to say he had the best betting odds.
So even
Right
the
now.
season that Dylan Gabriel may have, the yours might have, like, it, I just don't see him like not being able to compete with that just because they're bigger schools. Like, that's bullshit if they do that. The guy's putting up the numbers.
The thing I heard, like an argument was against because the last 2,000-yard rusher in college was Melvin Gordon, I believe, and everybody was saying that he should get the Heisman too. Like, he had a crazy amount of touchdowns that year, receptions too, receiving yards. He was killing it. But that was the year your boy Marcus Mariota
took it
had
from
an
him.
insane
Yeah.
season, had like 50 total touchdowns almost, and running all over the place, throwing all over the place. So I
See,
think
but what
that's like
quarterback's
where they
doing
gave it
that
to
right now,
him.
though?
But
They
yeah, like
lost.
I think Cam Ward is like kind of maybe the closest to
That's
putting up
the other guy.
those.
That's
But
like,
I give Ashton the bump there. I would.
yeah,
I
man.
think
Like,
so too.
why wouldn't you not? The guy is bringing a lot of attention to the game. He's on a team that freaking Boise State. Everybody knows they're just a good team every year. Like they usually like compete, but like the things that he's able to do, I just don't see. Cam Ward's the only other person. Like I just don't see all the other top 5 guys that are on there just having the crazy season he's having. If we're looking at it by crazy season definition, he's having a crazy season. People are laying down before he touches them. So let's get that rolling. Start a
Have
petition.
to, right? And I was like looking, so he's already got 1,248 yards. So he only needs 750 yards to finish and get his 2,000 yard season, which I don't know if you saw. He told his teammates if he doesn't get 2,000 yards, then he's going to cut off his dreads. But he's averaging right now, I believe, 9.9 yards per carry. And I don't even know how many yards per game, man. This guy is just on a generational run right now. And I think all he's going to have to do over the next 6 games, he's got to get 125 yards a game. So you would think that sounds like a big number, but for
It's
Ashton
easy.
Genty,
That's
that's
a
not
piece
going
of
to
cake.
be. He's
Just
getting
That's a piece
200
of
yards,
cake right
man.
there, baby.
Give him
That
3
average
games.
is just going to go down and down. I think he's got it for sure. So it's impressive, man. I'm a big fan of his. Can't wait until he stays in the blue in the professionals and just add a little bit of red and
You know
silver.
who he would be perfect for? Go ahead, cue that up.
Exactly. You follow. Perfect. I love it.
Oh, I
Okay.
thought you were talking about the big idiots in Dallas, but
That's a conversation for another day there,
yeah.
Feisty.
Well, another
Let's
way.
move along. So we got Indiana going up 2 after a bye week. And then, like I said, Kansas State, they're up 2, back up to 17 after they beat Colorado 31-28. Ole Miss drops 9 spots after losing to LSU. I think that might be a little bit much. LSU is obviously a good team. It was a great game, but that's 2 losses on the season, so I think that's kind of factoring in as well. Missouri down at 19 after beating UMass 45-3. Pitt goes up 2 after defeating Cal 17-15. SMU after a bye week goes up 1. Illinois goes up 1 after beating Purdue in a barn burner 50-49 in overtime. And for the first time, I think in college football history, both Army and Navy are ranked. Ranked football teams. Army is at 23 after beating UAB 44-10. And splitting them is Feisty's Michigan Wolverines, staying at 24 after a bye week.
I wouldn't even let you finish because.
Oh man, I hope I hope that
Go
you
say
guys
it.
don't lose to Michigan. I hope you don't lose to Michigan. If you do, buddy, oh no.
I'm not gonna say anything.
I'm not worried about that. I know you probably don't want to jinx them, but you guys got a way better team right now.
Yeah. Michigan sucks. That's all that anybody wants to say. Navy and Army, do you think they're getting NIL deals?
I'm not sure about that, but that's
Might
impressive,
actually-
man.
Where's my tax money going to?
Might actually have to watch the Navy Army week this year.
Right? Yeah, barn burner of a game. But yeah, Navy at 25. So I think you would hope that there was a team missing from that list, but there's not. There's not. Let's talk about it.
There's not a team.
Unranked now. Remember USC was in this segment? Well, Utah's in that too. Thank you.
You want to give them the claps? You want to give them the claps for that?
Oh, we will definitely do that. But before we do that, this team is
University of Utah.
hold on, and then
Thank you.
Welcome to the game show.
Well, the good news was that Cam Rising returned. Finally, after his broken finger in Baylor, and then on the second play, gets his ankle just absolutely destroyed. So, and then we quickly found out that his hand is not ready. He was not ready to play this game. This game, I think, is 100% on the coaches. Honestly, saw some good things. The running game was really good. Defense not great, especially against the run, but other than that, pretty decent. But Cam Rising, he couldn't hit a building if it was 10 feet in front of him. Like it was bad, and it's not his fault. You just could clearly tell he was not ready. He couldn't grip the ball. He made some throws. He made some plays. Overall, he went 16 for 37, 209, and 3 interceptions. My thing is that he shouldn't have been in the game one to start, and it's surprising that because Utah has always been so conservative with injuries, I feel like, and to play him like that was crazy. But especially once he get his ankle rolled up on, I was screaming for Isaac to go in, and I know that Cam's a better quarterback when healthy, but a big part of his game is being able to escape the pocket. He's not a run first guy, but he can definitely create some things when he can move, and especially just moving a little bit, opening up some other lanes. And he couldn't move at all. He was a sit and duck, and then he couldn't throw. So I don't know why we kept giving him the ball. We kept throwing it on first down, incomplete, not even close. Then we're in second and long, try to run the ball. We get a yard or two, forcing ourselves into third and long every single time. Makai did have he had a decent game, but he could have done better. He got outperformed by fucking Scataboo, whose name I had to hear about 1 billion times in that game, who went for 22 carries, 158 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And I think 60 plus 58 of those yards came on 2 runs straight up the middle for 60 and 58-yard touchdowns. So, yeah, that was the game. And now, at least Utah finally did this. We're not playing the games. They started to, but Cam Rising out for the season. With it, I think this is related to his ankle injury more so than the hand. And the Utes are considering a return for an 8th season.
No, I actually did not. This is the first time I'm hearing this. No freaking way.
I don't think it'll happen. I'll just say that. I think Cam will be done, and he probably should be. It's unfortunate, I think, for him in general.
What NIL deals do you think he'll get?
Right. I mean, I swear, because it is unfortunate. You're talking about a guy who was a good quarterback. Back-to-back Pac-12 runs. Like I said, beating Oregon, beating USC. We were both heavy underdogs in both of those games. He definitely was a better quarterback. We saw, how much better we were playing before he went down versus what Isaac was doing. But right now, it just makes no sense. And I think similar to what the Patriots are doing, man, it's time to build for the future. If Cam comes back, it's just going to be worse for the team overall. If we're not going to be on top of the Big 12 for a year or two, hey, BYU, they struggled their first year in the Big 12. Utah's, in the middle of it right now. And I'm ready for Isaac. Like, that's my thing. I love Cam. I wish that he could have returned. I think that if we sat him out for this game, we might have a chance to win, honestly. I think that, there were so many. I mean, Wes, you got to see the first half. There were so many terrible, terrible throws that you could tell he just wasn't able to grip the ball at all. So unfortunate. Utah drops to 4-2, now 1-2 in the Big 12. Like I said, we have the chance to kind of cannibalize the conference because we have Iowa State and BYU still left on our schedule. But it's just not looking good. It's another disappointing, should have been our year. We were the number 1 ranked team in the Big 12. And here we go. Man. This just sucks. And I deserve it all, boys. I deserve it all. I picked them to win the Big 12. BYU 6-0. I'd be doing the same fucking thing to US. So there's nothing I can say about it. Just pissed off about just the decisions being made right now. And yeah, I think if Cam were to come back, it's just going to be worse for the program overall. I think our best bet is if you're feeling confident enough, which I think you can. Isaac is a true freshman. You can stick with him or go for, the transfer portal. But Cam, I think, has got to be done, at least in Utah.
Yeah. I mean, just to recap a little bit of what you were saying, man. First of all, BYU best team in the state.
Wait.
Sorry to put you in the dirt even further, but had to.
Hey, by the
with
way,
how
I
much
just
shit
looked.
Utah.
You're at Oklahoma State at Lavelle Edwards. You're not in Oklahoma
Yeah.
State. Oh, I thought you said it was in Oklahoma.
I think I
Maybe I
said
did.
it, but it was
Okay. Anyways, I just saw that. Back to how terrible Utah is. I'm not trying to distract.
an escape route, bro.
No, I mean, I definitely think, and I mean, I don't know what type of roster you guys are going to have next season. I don't know how many returning players you guys are going to have. Maybe this was their last chance to, really make a big push before they have to go into a rebuild. And college rebuilds, Isaac Wilson, maybe his junior year, maybe that's when they finally make a push again.
Yeah.
Especially because I don't know, they can redshirt Isaac next year, but I think this year they can't anymore. I think he's played in too many games now.
Yeah.
So I would just, if Cam comes back, man, I swear, I'm gonna love it a lot. Because I mean, the dude's made of glass, and like you said, he couldn't throw a football to save his life the other day. I mean, you could see that there was zero velocity on the football. The spiral of the ball, you could even see, was just trash. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The receivers had a hard time catching the football. He had, like I said, he had zero velocity on it. So when he was trying to hit those, the short passing lanes, trying to get in between middle linebackers and stuff like that, you could obviously tell that he couldn't do it.
Yep.
Just all around. I mean, hey, at least you only got a couple more years left of the head coach. Why can't I remember his name?
Kyle Whittingham.
This is his last. Oh no, 2020.
No.
He hasn't said. He's just
He
preparing.
hasn't said specifically yet.
Kind of get
but
done. Yeah.
Next
couple
I think
years,
he alluded. Probably. I think he alluded to the next few years.
I think we talked about, like, in the meetings this year. He said that we were playing, was it Miami, I think, in 2027 or something like that. Yep. And he said he probably wouldn't be there for that. So in the next 2-3 years, it sounds like.
Or now. Or now.
I just don't think. I mean, the only reason why I feel like Whittingham would put Cam in is because he feels like he had to save the season.
Oh, like right now, this game.
Yeah, to save the season. I feel like that's the only reason why you would put Cam Rising in the way he did. And, to make that decision, you had to have seen throughout the week in practice, you would have had to have seen that he was in better playing condition and would outperform Isaac Wilson. Which
I don't understand how that could be true. From the get-go, it wasn't like, after a drive or two or even a play or two when he hit that finger again on like a lineman's helmet or something that kind of happens all the time. Like that none of that stuff happened. It was from the get-go. You could tell something was off. So how does that get passed? I think that if Isaac started, I'm not saying we win the game, but we have definitely a better shot. We ended up getting the lead, I think, in the third quarter for a brief moment. Our defense wasn't as good, like I said, so it might not have made a difference in the win-loss column, but I think it definitely would have given us a better shot. I think Arizona State is a gettable game with Isaac. And I think it definitely with an injured Cam. And can you imagine, what would have changed if you sat him another week, which is what I also hate about, how Utah does this injury thing. Like, say he's going to be out for 4 weeks, go with whatever the thing is and, prepare for the schedule. Like I said, where we have BYU and Iowa State, games that we would really need him. And if he's in for those games, we're looking different. And maybe we beat Arizona State, and we're 5-1 right now, and we're right in the thick of it. But yeah, I personally, I think that's a coaching mistake. Like you said, that's a great point, Wes. They would have had to see something, but what the hell did they see? You really think that Cam Rising with half a hand, it seems like, is better than Isaac Wilson? I don't think so.
But it also seems like the team plays better when Cam is on the field.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, that's the leader of their football team.
100%.
And you could see when they lose him, like, the team's morale just goes to zero.
Yep.
So maybe that's another factor that Whittingham had to juggle with, that the team plays better when Cam is on the field. They feel like they have a better chance of winning because the team has not rallied around Isaac Wilson whatsoever. That's from what I could tell. So
I mean, we thought that Oklahoma State game was a kind of prove it game for him. The other, he came in against Baylor and it was kind of mop up duty. Utah State wasn't that great. It was kind of his first start getting used to it. But then other than that, like Arizona obviously was bad. And you don't feel like we've been in it. And I think Cam is a leader, has been that guy. Yeah, that's you bring up good points. It's just unfortunate. I think that, if you were to give it 1-2 more weeks, let that really heal up, make sure he can throw a football. We're looking at definitely a different season and a different trajectory for the rest of his career, man. I don't know. You never know. A quarterback can, make it undrafted, be on a practice squad for a few years. I feel like he had some talent, and now I feel like there's just no chance. I mean, he literally made a glass. That guy cannot stay healthy, and it's not, not even like it's his fault. Just the most crazy things happen. So, unfortunate situation, and Utah got a tough hill to climb, and I think we're going to need other things to happen in our favor. So it's just not a great outlook, but hey, anything can happen. We've been here before. Utah has a pattern liking of making it tougher on themselves and losing to these unranked teams, and then somehow, because I think both of those Pac-12 championships, we ended up 9-3 in those seasons, and we lost to unranked teams, but then beat USC, beat Oregon. So I don't know.
I just want to make sure that you guys remember who the best team in Utah
is. It is BYU. Sorry, bud. That's the suck. And it's sucks when you have an old quarterback who's just getting his doctor's degree paid for and who makes $2.6 million a year.
I love the same anecdotes every week there, Feist. Can't live without him. What was Dillian Gabriel's salary again?
We're not talking about that still, remember?
Oh, we're still not talking. Okay,
we're under investigation. We have to get done with one first before we get into another. But hey, it's a tough game, man. Do you think that now that he may not be, well, he is out, but do you think how do you guys line up against Iowa State or BYU? I feel like BYU has a higher chance now.
Oh, 100%. The good thing for both of those games is that they're at home.
Right.
We have a few weeks before either of that. I think we got TCU this week at home. We got Houston on the road, and then after that is BYU.
Yeah.
And I think the other positive thing there, Wes talks about it a lot. It's a rivalry game. A lot of things happen in rivalry games. They're kind of crazy.
I'm not going to write it off whatsoever.
But BYU looks good, and
BYU looks very good, very good.
But it's in the Ute Stadium, man. That's anything could happen there, especially with how deep and big this rivalry is. Anything could happen in that stadium, and the Utes feeding off of that crowd. There's a lot of really diehard Utes fans that are going to be just blowing up that stadium.
So are you going to that game?
I'm not.
Oh, we should go and dress up in all blue.
There you go.
I'm down. If you want to do it, I'm down, my guy. We can piss off Jacobs even more and make his day worse.
Do you want to spend the $1,000 on some tickets?
To piss off Jacobs? Yes.
I'll make you buy $1,000 worth of tickets, and then you have to drive all the way up here.
That's it. piss off Jacobs, I'll do it.
Pick up some BYU gear on his way. Be
Boom,
perfect.
bada boom, bada beam. I was always a fan of them.
And I think the one other positive to finish out this college football segment is now Zach, Jesus, Isaac is going to be getting all of the first team reps. There's not going to be this split decision. When is Cam going to get back? We're just waiting for Cam to get back. Yeah, like you said, Wes, if they're rallying around Cam, we got no other choice now. Isaac's your guy. You have to go with him. And if he gets all the number one reps, you're believing in him. You put everything behind him. Hopefully, we can salvage this season. And I believe in it, man. We've done it before. Utes are a tough team. We got a lot of home games left, and against the tougher teams. So I'm excited to see how it comes out. And man, I'll be there. I'll be there for the Utah BYU game, and
So
I'm
will
just
we.
excited for it either way, man. Because that's my first rivalry game being able to go to, so it's going to be a fun environment. On the other side of this, we'll get into Sunday, and like I said, I had a much better Sunday. We'll see how your guys' Sunday were. So we'll check you guys on the other side of this break. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get into the NFL. Before we get into the games, we do have some news. Tua, some more news on him. So he's still going to be out this week against the Indianapolis Colts, but head coach Mike McDaniel came out and said that the plan is for him to return this season. That is what he wants to do. That's what the team wants, and they're planning on having it back. I think he said we just got to make sure we're following the process, make sure everything is good, he's ready, and everything like that. So good to hear for him. I hope that, it is truly what's best for him. Only he and, his loved ones can truly make that decision, but hopefully he stays safe, comes back, and can be healthy for a long time to come.
Yeah, man. I just hope that, I hope he's safe is kind of all and I wouldn't even mind seeing him wear the Guardian cap on
Yeah.
his helmet. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Those concussions are coming too fast and too easy now for him. I feel like,
And very violent too.
yeah,
Like,
and that's the problem. Is like once you start having concussions consistently, those concussions become easier to get. And I mean that hit that he took to get this one that was extremely violent, and put him out for like almost a day. Like couldn't remember where he was at for almost a day. That one it wasn't that hard of a hit. It seemed like to me.
right.
And I hope him and his family talked about it, and I hope they're not picking the money over his health, which is what I'm most worried about, because I know he did just get his big contract and everything. I just hope they're not picking the money over the wealth.
And honestly, I don't think that they are. I think he loves the game too much to kind of. He's a competitor to kind of like sit out. But you're 100%. Both you guys are both right. Like, you just hope that everybody who's been involved in this decision has been like looking at it as what's best for him, not what's best for the team. Like, football is football, but human beings are a lot different. Our bodies are as superhuman as athletes are their body's still just fragile too, So hopefully they end up kind of taking it as a slow approach. He meets with all the right specialists, get the treatment that you need to make sure that you're good 100%. Like, we just hate to have him happen what happened to Antonio Brown. So many other like players have happened to. Like, you just hate to see that, and you don't want that for anybody. Like, not even your worst enemy. So not even for Jerry Jones, but like
That
it's just it is
See,
what it is.
might be
that's
the one guy you think.
that's the thing too, and I mean you can definitely tell that he's with Mike McDaniel's there. After all the Flores stuff,
Yeah.
you could see the love of the game come back into Tua. They're winning games. Mike McDaniel and him look like best friends all the
Yeah,
time.
bro. Yeah.
The love of the football, love of the game has resurged itself back into it. And,
Yeah.
you bring up Antonio Brown. I saw a clip today.
Did you send that one to me,
I
or
think
I
I
sent
might
it to
have,
you or something? Yeah.
maybe. I saw a clip today where, I mean, it was kind of like the clip that I'm talking about was kind of like a sad highlight reel for
Yeah.
Antonio Brown. Yeah, so we're talking about the same thing.
I
Where
think a
like,
guy interviewed him and said, like, what's your
yeah,
favorite memory of your career? And he said, shit, I don't remember any of it.
Wait.
yeah. Why are you laughing, bro?
Wait. I
The
forgot.
problem is that Antonio Brown's so fucking funny now, but
He is, yeah.
it is sad.
He's gone
It
right
is
into
sad.
it. So
Yeah, it is sad to see kind of what his life turned into. He's funny, still makes good money off of what he does, but I mean,
He
it's
said,
sad to
"What
see because
career?"
I mean that guy could still be playing. I feel like
Yep.
if Dirty Vontez Burfict didn't have to kill him on a slant route in the playoffs, you know what I mean? And I just don't want the same thing to happen to Tua. Is all.
Yep.
yeah, I even to your point about the Guardian cap, I think it was McAfee that said they have the helmet that is supposedly better or as good as wearing a Guardian cap, and it was like, if anything, man, wear that helmet and a Guardian cap.
Yeah.
At this point, who cares? Like keep yourself as healthy as possible. So, wishing the best for Tua, 100%, and excited to see his return. But let's get into Thursday Night Football, where Mr. Brock Purdy, oh, man, he was looking pretty good to me. I know what Wes is going to say because Debo makes an incredible catch. What quarterback hasn't thrown one or two bad balls
Oh
in a
my god.
game?
Oh my. Oh my.
But the 49ers end up beating the Seahawks 36-24. Kind of felt like a real good bounce back game for the Niners. They got a lot of people back, but did lose Jordan Mason in this game. Seemed to not matter at all, as you say, Wes. Just having that offensive line and everything. Are you going to say that Mr. Christian McCaffrey ain't good either? Because
Well, he's
Jordan
already
Mason
proved
is
it.
what, second in rushing before this game. And then Isaac Gordonero comes in and looks amazing, just as good. Like, is that what you were saying? Just because the Niners' offensive line is good? I don't know. But the
Do you want
Niners are
me?
back
You want me to start
36 to
or
24. So what do you guys think? Are you coming around that maybe Brock
Let me get
Purdy's
my
kind of good?
popcorn.
all right? First of all, you bring up Christian McCaffrey.
Uh-oh.
Christian McCaffrey literally carried the Carolina Panthers on his back for 3 fucking seasons. That man deserves all the props in the world. You can't even fucking say. He went to a team that made the game so easy for him. So easy for him. And I just, and the problem is that you have Brock Purdy out here with the worst fucking quarterback mechanics I've ever seen in my life.
Oh
First of
man!
all, he throws every ball
Hey,
behind his receiver.
this
Every
was
ball was behind his receiver.
before Friday, so it was before you saw Cam Rising play. So I can see why you would say that. There's somebody else.
He
Okay?
played like Cam Rising. That's a good comparison right there. No, but like in all seriousness, bro, like I understand the stats. You're a fucking stats guy when it comes to Brock Purdy. I get the stats. But I specifically brought up the catch with Debo Samuel because every single slant route, every single drag route, every single one of them were behind his receiver.
Not every single one. You're
He did
talking
it
about
to
Debo made the crazy catch. That was awesome, and that was all Debo. That was very lucky and a terrible ball from Brock Purdy for sure. For sure. But not the rest of that game. He's also making plays with his legs. I know. I went into this game. All right, got to use the eye test because that's all Wesley cares about. Doesn't care about the stats, right? So I tried to use
Not
the
with
eye test,
Purdy,
and
I
man,
don't.
the guy did look good. Yes, he missed some passes. Yes, he missed some throws, but man's gonna get paid. Man's gonna be a Niner for life. And you want to talk about the 3-year thing, man? Brock Purdy, I'll say right here, Brock Purdy could have a 10-year, 12-year career with the 49ers and maybe a couple of rings on them fingers.
Oh, wow. That's a bold prediction, my boy. Wow.
I mean, tell me I'm wrong. He's going to get paid. There's
He's
no way
gonna
the
get
Niners are going
paid.
to let. And if they keep all those weapons around him, they're still going to be looking pretty good. Who's going to leave that Niners teams really? both Brandon Ayuk and Debo have tried to say they're going to, and they end up coming back.
Something's got to
Look.
give, though. Like,
Mm-hmm.
so is it going to be on the
man.
defense? It's going to be the offense.
Look, I get your shit with the stats. All right. I do. But there's three specific plays that I want to talk about. He was throwing behind receivers the whole game and the drag routes. The whole game. But there's three specific plays. The one where Debo scored a 30-yard fucking touchdown and almost got killed by a safety because of an underthrown deep ball by Brock Purdy. 2, the amazing Debo catch that we just keep bringing up, right? And then the tight. Well, I can't remember the tight end's name right now.
George Kittle.
George Kittle.
Fuck.
George Kittle also had a really good game that day, and he was doing the same shit that Debo was doing. He was catching balls behind him. He was catching, and I understand that some quarterbacks like to place the ball behind the receiver so they don't get hit, stuff like that. Brock Purdy's not that good. Brock Purdy was legitimately throwing behind his receivers all game long. Debo almost got killed, and the only reason why he didn't get killed on that deep ball was because the safety went like this, trying to hit Debo. That's literally the only reason why.
It's because Brock Purdy ain't good. I just love to throw the flame in this. I don't care if Brock Purdy is good or not, but all I know is Wesley's heated up. Mr. Jacobs is heated up, and all I know is the 49ers suck. Niners getting nowhere, and Brock Purdy ain't good.
That's an interesting take for you to say right now. I can understand the Brock Purdy stuff, but hey, you know what you always say. You have a good weekend no matter what when the Niners lose, and they won. And they also win with getting rookie wide receiver Ricky Purcell back at practice for the first time since he got shot. So awesome to see him back on the field, especially so quickly. And we'll see what he's able to add to that offense. It's going to be tough because, they already got 3 guys and Juwan Jennings has already proved to be like he belongs in that offense and a legit wide receiver. So, but just honestly really awesome to see him back on the field.
Yeah, no, it was a crazy story to begin the season, and you always hate that to start your rookie year, your first year in the NFL. You're excited to be on a championship contending team that you got drafted to, then to start your career off like that. I'm happy for him to be back in practice, especially this soon.
Yeah, I agree. You just hope that Brock Purdy can throw the ball accurately to him.
Good Lord, man. The man could have died, and you got to bring up the Brock Purdy jokes. So disrespectful, this guy. Let's get on from this game before we say something we're going to regret, huh? Let's go to London Town, where we had the Bears and the Jaguars in maybe the worst game. These Jaguars look so bad. So very bad. So bad that they made Caleb Williams look amazing. Is he amazing, or are the Jaguars that bad? Don't know. But the stats say that Caleb Williams had an amazing game. Only 6 incompletions,
point proven,
and 4 touchdowns. Oh man! And then Mr. Feisty, I know you love to see this. Travis Etienne going down with a hamstring injury early and getting 0.1 fantasy points.
Love that.
And it looks like Tank Bigsby is taking his job anyways. But Jaguars 1-5 now. The only win they had was against the Colts, which they have some insane streak of beating the Colts every single, for the last 10 years in Jacksonville or something like that. So I guess that's the only reason they have a win. I don't know. Doug Peterson might lose his job. Trevor Lawrence, after getting the huge contract and not really performing well, although talk about a quarterback that maybe it's not his fault and instead the receivers. 4 drop touchdown passes in that game from Jaguars wide receivers.
I don't know, man. I don't watch Jaguars football to tell you anything. So
you know that at the beginning of the season they were having communication issues too. Like the receivers were arguing with Trevor Lawrence.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think it's just kind of been boiling up to where everybody's just frustrated. And honestly, it's I feel bad for Trevor Lawrence. I actually like Trevor Lawrence, but like it's the same thing again where the old line does not give him time. And if you don't have an old line to protect and give you at least 3 seconds to throw the ball, 2 seconds to throw the ball, like it's hard. Like
Yeah, and
that's
they got
it's
Take
everything else right. They
take me
got wide
back to
receiver.
the take me back to the Blake Bortles days with the Golden Glove.
there's
Bringing them to the
that.
AFC Championship, man, insane.
Well, they were
Oh
division
man,
winners last year too, so I just don't understand
with that
what
hot start to
happened.
the season, and then yeah, I remember. I think I said they hadn't won a game since Thanksgiving last year, and now they only have that one win. So
Yeah.
they've been kind of definitely struggling. But moving on in the NFC North, we got the Packers absolutely demolishing the Cardinals. Like I said, one week the Cardinals look good, one week they look like trash, and this was their trash week. Packers looking very good though. And looking at the standings in that NFC North, dude, you got a 5-0 Vikings team, a really good Lions team, we'll say, and a couple of 4-2 teams with the Packers and the Bears. So, is this the best division in football, boys?
I think it could be. I think it could be. I mean, we are talking about the AFC North at the beginning of the year being the best division in football. At least I was, but the Bengals proved that wrong. And I mean, we'll see this week because the Packers play the Vikings, right?
Yeah.
And I think
Or
those are
I think it's the Lions and
the
Vikings.
Lions and Vikings.
Yeah.
Oh, gotcha.
Yep.
All right. Well, we'll see. I still feel like the Packers are kind of the top of that division. I feel like um,
Wow.
I
Interesting.
don't have a lot of faith in Sam Darnold. He has played exceptionally well to start his season, but I don't see this being like long term type
Well, and he, if you
full
think about
season
it too,
run.
he kind of struggled in London. He didn't
Yeah.
even have that great of a game against Aaron Rodgers. It was mostly that defense that won them that game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I also had him on fantasy football when he played in London.
I
London is
just
just a soccer town, and I don't know why they keep taking American football over there. Like it seems to not work out for me.
I just, I still feel like the Packers at the top of that division. I just feel like they had a bad start with Jordan Love going down with injury
Yeah.
so early. And
That's a good point. They got
I
a deep
mean,
wide receiver core, like we talked about. Dobbs was back, played a good game. Reed
uh,
looks amazing. Watson, good. And them getting Jacobs. I remember a lot of
really
experts saying that, like,
solidified
Jacobs,
the offense.
yeah, it did. And people were saying, like, Jacobs to, losing Aaron Jones, you get Josh Jacobs. Is it an improvement? And I was like, I think it is. I know Aaron Jones is still very good, but Josh Jacobs is a workhorse. And everybody was kind of writing him off. And I'm like,
Well, that's because he
I still
played for
think
the
he's
Raiders.
dominant. But even last year, he was killing. Wasn't he like the number one rusher for the Raiders last year? Well, not for the
Well, for
Raiders,
the
like
Raiders, yeah.
on the Raiders in the league, number one rusher in the league.
I don't know if he was or not. I'm not sure, but I just feel like everybody was kind of writing him off. They wrote him off every single year before when he was playing for the Raiders, and then they wrote him off again this year.
Well, and I think they have I think they're leading the league in the takeaway department too, because I think they had like 3 or 4 takeaways in that game. One was like they punched it out, like it was well timed freaking punch out, and then I was watching this game a little bit. So, and the Cardinals, they had Michael, whatever, Marvin
Marvin
Harris
Harrison.
was out after like the first. I think it was like the first quarter. He was out and then returned, and then they just had injuries after injuries after injuries. I feel bad
That's
for
Cardinals
Kyle
football,
Murray.
baby.
Well, I know how that feels too. By the way, um,
Yeah, infirmary.
we're not gonna get there yet. But Kyle Murray, dude, he looks like he's defeated every game, man. I honestly genuinely think either he needs to get out of there and go somewhere else like Justin Fields did, or he needs to like I don't know. Like he just looked so defeated the whole game. He would make a mistake and he just would go to the side and it was like this. There was a miss handoff that they did and fumbled. Like it just seems like there's no like chemistry between the team with him, and it just looks awkward. And he just looks like he's defeated. He doesn't want to be there. So And I don't know if he signed something this year or whatnot, but like he should be he should that era over there should be done because he just needs a fresh start, just like Justin Fields, like I said.
I don't know, man. I think like I said, they look good sometimes. And when like I said, Marvin Harrison's down early in that game. McBride looks like a dog, and I think they got some weapons. James Conner's still looking pretty good.
Yeah,
They can slowly improve that team. I think that defense has gone downhill. They definitely losing J.J. Watt to retirement, even Chandler Jones with that whole crazy thing. But I feel like he's still good. Like I don't see him going anywhere else. I see what you're saying though. I
yeah,
think he could be better some in another situation. I can't remember when he signed a deal last, but I think that they can do something down there. They just need a little bit more help. He just needs more help, and I think Marvin Harrison was a good pick for them, but we'll have to see maybe that offensive line a little bit and get some help on defense because I think a lot rests on his shoulders, and I think he's still looking good, but he is literally that entire team more than a lot of
super
quarterbacks are.
defeated.
Well, and I think this year too. I think it was Tom Brady that was talking about it because I think Tom Brady did the broadcasting for the Arizona Niners game.
Yep, he gave him the LFG Player of the Game
Yeah,
on that game.
yeah. Tom Brady was even talking about it in the broadcast that he looks like he's in control of the offense now. So like he's actually making the big audible calls. He's calling
Mm-hmm.
some of the plays on offense. He's actually taking charge of the offense now. So I feel like more of the weight actually sits on his shoulders now instead of before when they had to put in the contract about not playing Call of
The
Duty or
video game
whatever.
thing.
Yeah. Um,
Still can't believe that was a real thing in a contract.
but yeah, I just feel like he's kind of bought in now to the NFL and he's actually kind of buying into the system a little more and understanding the system and actually taking control of an offense.
Huh.
That's kind of where I feel like Kyler Murray's at.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you.
He just looks defeated to me, and hopefully something turns around. Maybe they need to help build that whole line too, because he was getting rushed like within 2 seconds and didn't have chance to like you put these athletic quarterbacks and they want a first option. They even said it. They're like, first option is to like look at your number one guy. After that, they're like, just go. Like, and it's just so sad because like that's how they end up getting hurt. So hopefully he gets some help either on the defense or on that old line. Because I still think he has an arm. I think he's still a good quarterback, but he just looks so defeated. It was literally like this the whole game. Like, poor guy.
Well, hey, since you brought up Fields, let's talk about the Steelers Raiders game. You'd think I'd be a little bit more excited about this game. You'd think I'd be a little more excited. They beat the Raiders 32-13. Because the offense still looked fucking horrible. They scored 32 points. But the offense looked fucking horrible. You can even ask Kyle because me and Kyle were texting back and forth during the game, and it was just bailout call after bailout call after bailout call. Fields threw a terrible interception, got a roughing the passer call. They were like 4th and 26 or some shit like that. Got a roughing the passer call, bailed them out again. Like it's just, I think not so much that the Steelers beat the Raiders. I think the Raiders beat themselves in this game.
Mm-hmm.
And the Steelers offense still looked fucking horrible. And then the defense, I don't know what's going on with the defense now. Like the first few weeks of the season, they were looking really, really good. Offense kind of was staying on the field a little bit more, not as many 3rd and out or 3 and outs. And, but now the defense just looks like it starts super slow. Like the Raiders' first drive of the game, it was pissing me off because the Steelers are known, obviously, for their pass rushers, obviously for getting sacks and stuff like that, but they're pride themselves in the running game, and the Raiders were fucking dominating them in the running game to start this game, and I don't know what's going on. Defense finally turned it on in the second half, and we got a few turnovers and what have you. That's why the score looks like it does, because we got the ball in their in the red zone a couple of times to start drives. Just all around, didn't like the game. Ugly game. And just too many bailouts. Also, I do want to mention Russell Wilson, finally active. He's officially active. And I do want to say, because everybody was clowning him for being dressed for the games, being in his shoulder pads, being ready to play. He was a emergency third string quarterback.
Correct,
So
yeah.
that the only way that they would put him in is if two quarterbacks go down. Just have him on the sideline just in case. But with him being fully active this week, I think that I heard a report, don't know how true it is. Russell Wilson is getting first team snaps this week. Maybe Justin Fields was just a bridge to put Russell Wilson in. Never, because Mike Tomlin never officially said that Justin Fields is our quarterback. Never once said it. He said at the beginning of the season, Russell Wilson is our guy. He's our starting quarterback. Not once in this whole stretch had he said Justin Fields is our guy.
I think the way you look at it though is how do you message this? Like you look at it as more a don't destroy Justin Fields' confidence and say you didn't play well. Now we're putting Russell Wilson in. I think that you put it right where you're like he's the bridge. Like our starter was hurt. You did what you needed to do to get us to where we are now. Um, and like Russell Wilson's gonna be starting. Like, but either way, I think it's gonna destroy his confidence. I think that
Yeah,
like
because
gonna
like
be
you said, I don't think Justin Fields thinks that was the plan. Like,
probably
I don't
not.
think that's his. And what's he got? I think it's 10 touchdowns to 1 interception this year. And I just talked to you. I was like, man, only Justin Fields would make some of those throws that he did in that game. We were talking about it, Wes, but that is surprising to me. You make a good point, Fi. Sorry to cut you off there, but
You're good.
like you're talking about how that might have been the plan, but I don't think you planned for Justin Fields to like play as well as he has.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't say it's great. I don't think Wes would say it's like amazing. And we debated about this last week, because there were things that Justin Fields has done that we feel like Russell Wilson can improve upon in that offense and be better at. And that's maybe where Mike Tomlin is at, because he did say in his press conference, and it was the most definitive statement I feel like Mike Tomlin has made since he said that week 1 Russell Wilson would be the starter and that he's in consideration to start this week, which is kind of a wild move, man. Like, I don't know. I didn't think that would happen. I thought we were kind of talking about like, how do you go away from Justin Fields? Because yeah, like I said, 10 touchdowns, 1 interception, and then what's his record? 2 losses in 4 wins.
Yep.
Yeah. So like I don't know. Wes, like honestly, what do you think here? Is this the right call to even make it a battle, let's say? And if they do go to Russell Wilson, what do you think?
Well, the problem is that nobody's really seen what Russell Wilson can do yet. They don't know what he can do in this offense. He's obviously a veteran leader, doesn't turn the ball over. Justin Fields hasn't done that already. He's already kind of doing what the offense needs him to do, or what Mike Tomlin's game plan is. But I don't, and I understand what you're saying with him destroying his confidence. But like I said, Mike Tomlin's like one of the most sneakiest head coaches I think I've ever seen. Like even with Steelers fans, he just doesn't tell you what's happening behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And I think that with him never announcing that Justin Fields was the starting quarterback, I think that he had a conversation with Justin Fields before the season started and said, "Hey, Russell Wilson is the starter. We want you to play behind him. We want you to learn from him, and we have already announced that Russell Wilson is the starter. You're going to play in his place until he's completely healthy." Yeah. And I think that's kind of where that I think that's what Mike Tomlin would do, and I think that's what he should have done if he didn't. Especially if they make the move now with how well Justin Fields has played to this point. Not saying that he's the best quarterback in the fucking league or anything, but like he's played well enough to win football games,
Yeah.
and that's all you can ask for. So if you go to Russell Wilson now, I don't know how much it'll destroy his confidence, but I don't know how the offense is going to look because there's so many designed plays for Justin Fields in the
Yeah, you
playbook
brought
right
that
now.
up. It's going to be a totally different offense, right? You're going to have to run a different offense that you have been. They're just two different quarterbacks, so it's going to be tough. I personally think it's a bad move. If it's, I guess if it's what you say, but even if that was the plan, man, if I go out and put 4 wins up on the board, do what you ask me to do, 10 touchdowns, 1 interception. Again, big stats, guy, as you can tell. But no, I think there's been some bad plays. You want to talk about the eyeball test, but then there's been a lot of good. Like I think we've said, you see some Justin Fields stuff, but for the most part, he looks like a different quarterback. And I think it's tough to go to Russell Wilson. Now, if Justin Fields continues or starts struggling, then you can switch. But making the switch to Russell Wilson, who has had definitely a rocky last couple years, even though he did have a low turnover year last year. I think still Denver fans didn't like him, and he wasn't much of a big play guy, which Justin Fields allows you to have. I don't know. I don't like that this is even a consideration. I think that Justin Fields has done enough to earn this job outright. So I don't like that move, but like you said, that's Mike Tomlin football, baby. That's what Mike Tomlin does. He literally said it in one of his comments. The door is ajar, I think. And I think he's intentionally left it ajar. He always wants that door to be open. He's
Yeah,
not
he wants
trying
the
to close it off.
competition.
So,
He
yeah.
wants the competition. And sorry, Feist, before you get into it real quick, I just wanted to say that I do believe that Justin Fields to this point has earned a second contract.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
At least with the Steelers. And, if that happens and, they start Russell Wilson now, let Justin Fields now learn behind Russell Wilson. And then next season, Justin Fields, this is your team.
If he's down for that, then, hey, more power to him. What if another team, though, wants to poach him and takes him away, offers him a little bit more money? It could at the same time, like he could want to go to another team.
I think the biggest thing is like the way I look at it is like after we're going to be talking about this game afterwards too, but it's how Joe. I think I talked to you earlier, Joe Flacco. Like now the Colts are going to be starting Richardson because he's been the guy. He's the starting quarterback.
The
They've
number
said they
4
use
pick, you gotta
like
put
you
all
got to
that eggs in
develop
that
him even
basket.
if he's injured. Like have somebody step in, and then as soon as he's healthy, you got to play him right. And so I think that's the kind of approach that I look at it now too. It's like Russell Wilson was always their guy. I think that Justin
But
Fields was
see,
just a backup
I think
guy.
that Russell Wilson in this situation is um like well, I think Anthony Richardson. So Anthony Richardson is not the top guy. He's the younger guy that you feel like you have to because he was a top pick.
Yeah,
The Steelers don't have that at all. Whereas like the Colts, they feel like they have to go back to AR because he was that pick. But the Steelers, they have no investment as far as financially in either of these guys, contractually in either of these guys. So I feel like they're as free as can be, where the Colts are a little different. But I see your point where
yeah.
it's like they feel like they have to. But why do you have to start Russell Wilson, man? If Fields is as good as he is, you'd be like, thanks for your help, Wilson. Good luck in your next adventure. Let's go with Fields as our future.
I just think that it's definitely a lot more. Um, it's a lot more for the organization to know who their guy was at the start of it, and it just makes it difficult. Like I really do like Justin Fields. I've been cheering for him since the start, but Russell Wilson's always been their guy, and why not give him to the why not give it to the older guy? And if he sucks, you already know you have a good quarterback behind him And why get Russell Wilson or why Justin Fields have him get injured when you know that he's your future quarterback and Russell Wilson's not? So I kind of look at it that way too, where I'm like, I'd rather get my, the better quarterback of the two and the older quarterback a try. And if he gets hurt, he gets hurt. But I'd rather not have the future quarterback get hurt too. And like
I
Wesley said, I think he's very sneaky to like at least give people a talk before making a decision like that. I don't think he's one of those guys that's like, well, this is the plan. We're going with it. I think he's
right,
very
everything's in house.
enforced. Yeah.
Yeah, I just think that, like we talked about last week, the calf injury is what made that all, kind of go the wayside, where everything kind of changed, because that's
Yeah.
what their plan was.
Yep.
And if that didn't happen, then you could have done this and that would have been okay. Because, like I said, I think it's easier to go from Russell Wilson to Justin Fields than it is to go from Justin Fields.
Yeah.
You don't know what Russell Wilson's going to be.
Yeah.
Now, if Russell Wilson comes in as the starter and lights it up and is even better, then Mike Tomlin knew all along, smarter than us, I guess, at
Yeah.
coaching football and making
It's-
personnel decisions. I don't know. But
He
the
might
thing
be an
is, I
NFL head coach.
for the longest tenured, right? And but I think the thing is, if you guys are saying, like Justin Fields is on board with this, I find that surprising. Even if he knew that was the plan, I don't think anybody expected him to play as well as he has played so far. So
Yeah.
I think if I'm Justin Fields, I would take that personally.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, I deserve this job. I've earned this job there. I have done everything right. I've changed the way I've played in certain ways. I've listened. I've done what you guys have told me to do. And I've gone out there and I've performed. And I think that'll be tough. But we'll have to see because, no answer. Of course, we're not going to get any answer from Mike Tomlin until probably game time. So we'll have to see, or at least till the very last second, whatever it is, like an hour and a half before the game when they have to release it.
Yeah. Well, hey, before we move on real quick, I just want to throw some props out to Najee Harris. Had a really good game. Looked
Finally.
like the running back that I've always wanted him to be.
Yeah.
Run fucking north and south. But that's literally all I need from you. And he literally carried like 6 Raiders defenders every
Yeah.
time he ran the football.
That was the thing I noticed most about this game too.
Yeah.
He was a beast.
He had 14 carries for 106 yards and a touchdown. Finally, there is a second Steeler to have a rushing touchdown other than Justin Fields.
That was good. I didn't even know that. Did not know that was coming. That's awesome. Oh my goodness, love that. And hey, I wanted to throw in something before we move on too. That is that Tom Brady continues to own and dominate NFL franchises, more specifically the Raiders, but this time financially. He was unanimously approved as a minority owner for the Raiders. I think Feisty, you told me there was about 5%. And I saw all these kind of crazy rules because he's also broadcasting. He's not allowed to watch practices. He's not allowed to publicly bash officials or other teams. So I think
Who's
that'll
allowed
be
to do that in the first place?
Well, I think it's
Nobody's
different.
allowed to publicly bash the refs. I feel like everybody in the NFL gets fined if they do that.
I don't know. I think there's a lot of stuff with him being a broadcaster too. I think that's why they had this whole long list and why the process took so long, because he's in a public eye in that way. So I think it'll be interesting to see, because I think too, don't the broadcasters, they get special access to meetings, or not like team meetings, but they get to meet with players, watch practices, stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, they go and talk to players. They'll talk to players about their game plan that week, and kind of how they're feeling going into the week and stuff like that. And they don't like specifically go in and sit down during practices or anything. There's other reporters that do that, and then obviously relay. But yeah, no, I mean, I understand kind of what they're looking at with that. But at the same time, I mean, allowing him to go and watch a Raiders practice and sit in on team meetings or whatever, how does that affect anything with his broadcasting? I mean, the only thing that I can think of is that he might favor the Raiders in a broadcast. But I mean, he's going to do that anyway if he's a fucking owner.
Yeah, and he's gonna, he does that. He does that with the Bucks. Like he has a personal tie to them. And you've seen that in the. I think he called one of their games, and I'm sure he would do the same for the Patriots too. So like it's kind of that thing, and yeah, he might, be a little bit, but I think he's still going to be good and professional. So yeah, that is the news on that. And then, like Feisty mentioned, the Colts game, AR named the starter. This is after Joe Flacco went in and won another game, beat the Titans 20-17. And one other news thing to happen there was Pittman ended up playing. I actually put in the notes that Michael Pittman was going to miss a few weeks because that was the report I seen. But then he came back, he played, he had a good game, and he said that IR is not off the table still. So he's working through something and trying to go out there, trying to play. I respect that, but we'll have to see the update on that situation. Feisty, you did bring up a good point about this whole quarterback controversy with Indy because Joe Flacco continues to be a good quarterback and a starting level quarterback. And if I'm the Colts, I know it's hard, and I think their hand is forced to play AR, but I'd like going with Joey Flacco. And just like he said, just like I've been saying for, however long now, that I like rookie quarterbacks and young quarterbacks to have that ability to sit behind a veteran, and that might be good for AR because AR definitely has so many weapons that Joe Flacco doesn't have. Like, let's not pretend that Joe Flacco could even try to run as fast or as hard or is as strong, whatever, as AR is, but he's a better pocket passer for sure and maybe a better quarterback at this stage of his career. And he could help AR. So
Deshaun
I
Watson should have sat behind Joe Flacco.
Oh my goodness. Definitely. But
They don't want no
I
part
like
of
Joe
quarterback
Flacco.
controversy.
I like Joe Flacco starting for the Colts. And like you said, Feist, even with all the injury things, like you could even play that card like,
Yep.
oh, we just want to make sure AR is healthy, even if he is.
Yep.
But yeah, no, they're going to have to go back to AR. So we'll see how that goes. What do you guys think? Right call here? They have to do it, or should they start Joe Flacco anyways?
Well, I mean, I could see how they have to do it, but I mean, the other thing too is like he's young, right? I mean, there's why Joe Flacco gives you the best chance to win now. He gives you the best chance of teaching AR how to be a pocket passer.
Yeah.
And that's how Joe Flacco's been his whole career as a pocket passer. He's part of that older generation, like a Tom Brady, like a Big Ben, like a
Yeah.
Tony Romo. You know what I mean? He's that part. He's a part of that generation. And I mean, I feel like I don't think that there's a bad decision here necessarily because I feel like there's a lot of shit. There's a lot of stuff in the offense that's built around AR, and they would have to change a lot of the offense to build around a pocket passer like Joe Flacco. But like I said, on the other hand, it'd be good for AR to kind of learn how to be that pocket passer behind Joe Flacco. So, I mean, you could really go either way on this one. I feel like.
Yeah. Yeah. This is the one where I'm like, go with Joe Flacco. Like he's giving you the best opportunity, and let AR just heal up. Let him see and learn from Joe Flacco. And so this is the one where I'm like, it really makes sense to go with the veteran quarterback and not the young quarterback, regardless of if he's playing good or not, because you have a better chance of winning with him, and it doesn't hurt that AR can get healed up because I feel like every other game or every 2 games he's injured. Something is coming
Oh
up
yeah.
injured. So like, just let him heal. Like
I think he
that's
only
your
played
franchise
4 games
quarterback.
last year, and he got injured in all of those 4 games
Yeah.
until the season-ending injury.
So
So yeah.
a good opportunity for that. But we'll have to keep an eye on that because Joe Flacco gives you the winning. Take it.
Well, and I think I also heard too. I think it's McAfee because he's a Colts guy. He said this team's like built to win now. They have a lot of money, invested in this team already. Jonathan Taylor, I think Pittman got a contract. The defense they got a lot of money on. So like it's kind of a set up to be a win now team, which Joe Flacco might give you a little bit better of a chance. So. Well, let's move on to another game. I promised some Broncos fans because apparently we don't talk about them enough. I know
There's a
Feisty,
reason.
you're a big fan of Bo Nix, but
It was the
let's
battle
talk
of the
about
Ducks.
him. Okay, after they were down 23-0 to start this game. I remember watching. I'm like, okay, yeah, we don't have to talk about this game. The Broncos did make it a game. They scored 16 unanswered in the fourth quarter. And still, the biggest storyline was not about them, and it was actually about something serious. Head coach Jim Harbaugh, I remember seeing the report, didn't say what it was during the game, but he left in the middle of the game due to an atrial flutter, where he was experiencing irregular heartbeats and heartbeats up to 250 to 300 beats per minute, which is insanity. Never really heard of something like this happening, at least, not with anybody public in two. So he actually ended up coming back to the game, coaching them, and, Chargers get the win, but glad he's okay. That is a scary, scary situation to happen, especially in the middle of a game. But hey, what a tough guy to still come back in the game and coach, finish it out, man. Respect to Jim Harbaugh.
Well, I mean, you've seen Harbaugh in like meetings and stuff. His meetings are like some of my favorites.
Dude loves football. He loves football more than anything. Would probably die for the game of football.
Yeah, probably. I mean, you could tell definitely when he was playing, or when he was coaching in Michigan, like that was like, it was his whole team. You know what I mean? Like, that's his whole life is football, and that's how a lot of these guys have to make it sometimes. And yeah, I mean, that's a scary situation to be in. I know that a lot of head coaches have had to go through something like this in the past, where they have to miss a few games and stuff like that because of the stress of the game and stress of building a game plan, and stress of just being an NFL head coach. Just gets to you sometimes, and obviously it got to Jim Harbaugh. I don't know exactly what an atrial
flutter.
Mm-hmm. Obviously, I'm not a doctor, can't even say the word. But
so it's a condition. It wasn't just a random like scenario that happened to him. He's actually dealt with this, he said. I can't remember how long it's been. I don't think it was his whole life, but he's been dealing with it for a while. So he knows kind of what it is. I think that's why he was kind of prepared and was able to come back in the game and everything. He felt comfortable enough. But yeah, it's regular heartbeat can cause it to spike like that, obviously. And, all kinds of, it's very dangerous because all kinds of things can happen to the body when your heart is beating that fast. There's a reason why, when you're busting your ass and your heart rate is up there towards 200, why you feel the way you do. So really, really awesome to see. It's a scary situation, and awesome to see that he was able to handle it. Medical staff able to help him out. He did make a joke. I think part of your what you said about his press conferences and meetings and stuff. Remember, he talks about how he's not a doctor. He's not medically qualified to talk about all these injuries. And he goes, I am qualified to talk about this because I have dealt with
it. Yeah, no, sorry, Feist. I just wanted to, finish up with the Broncos a little bit. Bo Nix and Sean Payton, correct? Sean Payton. I don't know why his names are fucking leaving.
You are, not on a good name streak today.
Although I did pull Blake Bortles out of my ass though. That was a pretty
well,
good
how
one.
Could you forget that? Come on, man.
But no, I mean, Bo Nix and Sean Payton. You never really know kind of where NFL teams are at, especially with these old school head coaches that leave stuff behind doors. Sometimes it feels like they're getting at each other's throats, and other times it seems like they're the best.
2 full grown men going at it, buddy.
That's true. Yeah, I don't know. It's just the competitor in both of them, I feel like.
Okay, I get to make those jokes. Come on now.
I think Bo Nix still has the record of most games played in college football history. So
hey, it was the Battle of the Ducks, and I think you asked me this a while ago. Who would I pick? I don't remember who I went.
Oh, with. Herbert or Nix?
Yeah.
Yeah, we asked you that on the podcast, and you said you think you're going to go Nix long term.
Oh, long term Bo Nix, yeah. I mean, it's just so sad. I just feel like he's just not. It almost just feels like he's not being allowed to run this offense. I know he's a rookie quarterback, but he's also super smart. He
very
like
old.
You said he's played for college football for like 7 years.
Old man, married, kids, everything.
He doesn't have
Old guy.
kids. Calm down now. But it's just so interesting because it just seems like like Wes said, like they're just like they're going at each other's throat. Like I know Sean Payne. They were like last week they were talking about it. Like he expects a lot. He did this with Drew Brees, and look where Drew Brees ended up being. Like it's just I think it's just the mentality of him. But he also gotta let Bo Nix be Bo Nix. You gotta open up the field for him, let him, and it doesn't help that they really don't have again an old line to do anything with, and supposedly that's what they did upgrades on, and they don't have a running game. Like if you don't have a running game, you can't really do a whole lot of anything. So,
No
Well,
blame to Bo Nix.
the thing, the thing is,
Homer.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I didn't hear anything. You're not blaming Bo Nix at all. What the heck is this? It's
I
everybody
mean,
else's fault.
I blame Bo Nix because
Yeah,
he's
I'm
a
just kidding.
rookie,
Shit. I'm
and
just
like he
kidding.
should like it's just hard for me to say okay it's Bo Nix's fault when it's really the coaching plan. Like everything
Mhm.
has to be executed from the coach's perspective, and then you blame the players. And you have a coach that's going at this player's throat. Like it seems like every week, it's just not a good look for him. Like
Well,
doesn't
and
seem
look,
healthy.
man, I think Bo Nix is just like every other rookie.
Yeah,
It's not like it's going to be, like a Herbert or, any rookie that comes into the league and just lights up the
CJ
league.
Stroud. Yeah,
You know what I mean? It's not going to be like that. It's not going to be like a CJ Stroud. It's not going to be like a Jaden Daniels. It's not going to be like that every single time. And I feel like
I do it. I do it. I do it. I was about to say, or a Drake May.
he played one game, bud.
Oh,
He played one game, bud.
I didn't
One
say it.
game,
I
bud.
didn't say it. If I said it, I didn't say
One
it.
game.
I didn't say it.
Anyways, let me get through my topic before y'all cut me off again.
Feist, have some respect.
No, I think that Sean Payton's idea is he wants Bo Nix to learn this season, and he wants to lean on his defense. That defense is playing out of their mind. Patrick Surtain is definitely looking like a guy that deserves that money he got.
100%.
Didn't he get
And
injured though?
I think, was it this game or last game he got a
I
concussion?
think he got injured this game.
I'm not sure.
I'm trying to look at.
But regardless, Denver's defense is playing really well right now, and I think that's kind of what Sean Payton wants to do is lean on his defense and let Bo Nix kind of learn at the NFL level for a season, at least before he just turns over the reins to a rookie
Yeah.
that, and send him to the Wolves. Like I said, not
Kind of
everybody
like
could be a
having the
CJ
reins
Stroud
on
or a
him,
Jaden
right?
Daniels. Yeah.
Like he's got the reins on him. Kind of like what we were talking about. Is that what they're going to do with Justin Fields? Like playbooks may be limited. You want to make sure he doesn't turn the ball over, keep things coming easy for him, make it as easy as possible. So I think Bo Nix will definitely be good. Just giving you a little shit there, Feisty. But I think there's things he can improve on, and it's going to be a different game at the NFL. He has to come in to an offense that isn't built to succeed right now. It's just another offense that we've been talking about. And he is a rookie, so it's going to be tough. You're going to have growing pains, but defense is good. They're still 3-3.
Hey, it's the same
Season's
offense that
open.
Russell Wilson had. Not built to succeed.
There you go. Well, let's get into Monday Night Football. And this had more storylines off the field than it did on the field. And that was even with a good game. Obviously, we talked about Jeff Ulbrich being the new head coach, the interim head coach after Robert Saleh was fired. His first move was to make Todd Downing the play caller, stripping that title away from Mr. Rogers' boy, Nathaniel Hackett, even though he remained the offensive coordinator title. But yeah, Todd Downing, I think he was the quarterback's coach, if I'm correct. I can't remember, though. He might have been something else. So that was Jeff's first move as head coach. And then we get into the Hassan Reddick situation. So it hasn't really been updated for a while, but his agent actually dropped him amid his holdout and was like, we're done with this. Like, so what that tells me is that they wanted him to cave or at least, come to terms with the Jets a little bit. And he still didn't want to do that. But doesn't seem to matter for Hassan because he picks up Drew Rosenhaus, who we know is one of the best in the biz. And they say that they're actually working to end this holdout as soon as possible. And the Jets have also allowed him to seek a trade. So Hassan Reddick might actually make it onto a football field this season. What do you guys think about that?
What is he at now? Like 20 million? He's out 20 million or something like that.
I can't remember. It's
Or
what, 6
2
games
million?
now that he's been out?
I think he might be out 2 million at some point at this point, or something like that. And then he got fined, I think, by that old agency on top of that. Then his agent dropped him, and now he's on to Drew Rosenhaus. I mean, this guy's just losing so much money and wasting his talent. Because, I mean, he was good. He was good with the Eagles. He was their top pass rusher. There's a reason why the Eagles couldn't pay him. It's just, I don't know, man. It's insane to me. I don't understand the holdout. Because, I mean, Hassan Reddick's losing all this money. You're going to come back either halfway through this season, get injured, because you haven't been up to NFL playing style, and all the guys that are in the league right now are up to the NFL playing style by this point. We're kind of through all these wishy-washy injuries from all these starters that haven't played through the preseason.
Yep.
And I just don't understand, man.
Here's the thing, though. There's two teams right now, top of my head, that I know could use him, right? And if they're smart enough, they should go after him because he's the one that's seeking the trade. The Lions.
Yes.
And the Cowboys.
I'm surprised because like a lot of people were saying like Max Crosby would be the name for the Lions to go after.
And I did see that, but
I think Reddick makes more sense. Like Crosby seems like possibly a Raider for life. Now things could happen because that's a very bad situation.
But I don't think that they trade
the Raiders.
They did say that.
But I don't think they trade him now.
No, but they did actually just put out a thing saying that he's on the no-touch list. So
did they?
Yeah, and there was a thing that said that they would even turn down 2 first-round picks for him. That's how much they believe in him. So the Lions.
This is what. Sorry to cut you off, but there's a reason why they did that because one of their other pillars just got traded.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that's. Right. They're not gonna trade away both of the pillars of their whole team.
They need
in the same season.
They need somebody to sell jerseys.
That they do. And Crosby's probably the only person left.
And that's probably the only way that Crosby's gonna leave that team is if he gets traded.
Yeah,
I feel like Crosby's that type of dude that's like
he's a loyal
you
guy.
You could just tell that he's a Raider for life.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate because he's so talented and that team's not going anywhere. But I do see Hassan Reddick, like him going.
I think that's a good option, right, for the Lions. It's kind of perfect.
Perfect option. And so
I did see, I did see that there could be. This is like fluke, reporting. Maybe there's a chance that Aiden Hutchinson could come back in the postseason.
Oh, I have not. No. I think he got a rod put in his leg. He had emergency surgery. I've seen 6 to 8 months is like the minimum.
Yeah,
I don't think.
Aaron Rodgers tried to do the same thing last year.
Well, I don't think Aiden's going to do any Wakanda or Alaska or anything like that. But yeah, I do think that the Lions make the best sense in this scenario where a guy wants to leave. The Lions need somebody. Feisty. I don't think the Cowboys are ever going to make a move in the rest of Mr. Jones's existence. So that's true, but I don't know that that'll happen.
What do we got to do? It really it would make sense because DeMarcus Lawrence is injured and he might be out for another week or two. Micah Parsons has been injured for the last 2 games, could be out for another week. So it's just surround yourself with weapons. What would be a better way to say F you Eagles than to sign your former Eagle?
There you go. They're resolved. Something will happen, right?
I'm not excited. I'm trying to send a letter to Jerry Jones. Give me 1 sec.
So you really fumbled that one, huh? Just like Jerry Jones is free agents.
I was about to send a letter to Jerry Jones, but then I accidentally
You couldn't wait.
Anyways, every time in the world. We'll get to that in a little bit.
Oh boy. Well, getting back to this game, big loss for the Bills. James Cook was out for this game after being on the injury report all week. And then getting into the game, just a really good back and forth affair. I was fine either way, as long as the Bills or Jets lose. I was fine. So one of them ended up losing, and that was the Jets, like you like to say, feisty, 23-20. Now Aaron Rodgers did do some ashwagandha magic yet again, and got his fourth Hail Mary at the end of the first quarter to Alan Lazard. He's the best at that, I guess. But yeah, some stats to talk about
There we
this
go.
game. Do you know that the Jets have scored the same amount of points through the first 6 weeks this season as they did last season?
The offense isn't as bad as we thought it is.
Maybe Feisty was right. Aaron Rodgers, is he washed?
It's even gonna get better now that he has. Say announce that already so I can talk my crap, bro.
Okay, I will. I'll get to it. Before I do, Aaron Rodgers did blame Mike Williams for that game-ending interception.
Like, what the hell, bro?
You would like to talk about that?
Oh my gosh, that pissed me off. How are you gonna? Oh my god, how are you gonna blame your receiver
For running the wrong route? He was supposed to go down the red line. Which, Wes, do you know what the hell that is that he's talking about?
Down
What
the
is a
red
red line? Yeah, I've never heard that term before.
I mean, the only thing I can think of is that he meant to be.
He was
something
what
down
he
the-
said he was supposed to be running a go route, like he was just supposed to.
Yeah, that's the only thing I could think of is that he was supposed to be running just a straight.
like outside or maybe the inside of the?
The red line's probably the outside of the numbers.
Yeah.
Okay. I
That's
had
what I
never
would
heard
think
that
it is.
term before, but yeah.
That's the
Anyway,
first time
What an
I've heard it, but
absolute
that's just my
idiot,
guess.
bro. Like, why are you gonna blame your freaking wide receiver? Maybe get the ball to your receiver so you can actually make a catch. Like this is another thing. Like Aaron Rodgers came out last week and said, "Oh, how's not Mo Robert Salah getting in fired? Mo Salah as a soccer player, sorry, but
Stick to
he said that it
American
was
football, please.
sorry.
I'm
We're
just
in London.
kidding.
But he said that him getting fired was his fault. And I'm like, bro, it definitely was your fault. Like, he was a good coach. Like you said last week, he's a good defensive coach. I know I
Yes.
gave him shiz about it, but he's a good defensive coach.
He's a
And
good
the
defensive
defense was
coach.
playing really, really well. Like, the time that he was there,
Yeah. The
he's
defense has been very good. The offense has never gotten good.
but you can't have a defensive minded head coach and blame like it just doesn't work out, right?
Yeah, I think at some point you can, because the thing is, if you are a head coach, you are responsible
Right.
for the
I
whole
agree.
team, and you
I
hire
agree.
these. He's had different coordinators, offensive coordinators throughout this whole process, and it's just never gotten better. And I think his win loss record very bad. So
Okay.
I think
I
that,
just
like,
think that
I
Aaron
think it
Rodgers
was
had a big say.
he should have been let go before the season. That's what I
Yeah,
think.
maybe,
I think
yeah.
it just wasn't like him, but I think they gave him another pass because Aaron Rodgers' injury, and that was supposed to be what helped the offense. But then, firing him through 5 games is pretty wild. But we kind
How
of
they
already
did it
talked about
too.
that.
Like
Yeah,
how they did
exactly.
it.
I mean, would you put Mike Tomlin in that same category then?
As just a defensive coach, you mean?
Yeah, like would you fire him with what he's done with the offense in the last 5
Well,
years?
There were talks about that, right? Like that, even though
Yeah, but they're not firing. The problem is, I'm sorry, got a little defensive there.
he goes, "Oh, Kyle wasn't even talking shit there. I didn't. I was just ready for it."
I was just gonna say. I was gonna throw this out there that the owner of the Jets never wanted Robert Saleh in the first place.
Yep, that is
And
a good
then,
point.
I
Why
mean,
did
with
he
the
hire
Mike Tomlin thing, there's only been 3 head coaches in Steelers history, so the Rooneys are very loyal. But he didn't hire him. It was
Yeah, it was a weird situation.
it was like the second in command that he put in command while He was a ambassador for
Trustee, ambassador.
He was
Yeah.
the ambassador of the United States in England. And so he put a second guy in charge to cover and run the Jets. And that guy made the decision to hire Robert Saleh. And then the owner of the Jets came back and said, "This isn't the guy I want. We'll see how it goes, I guess.
Mhm.
But this
I
isn't the
still
guy
think
I
that
want."
Robert Saleh has a job next season.
No,
Maybe
he
not as a
does,
head coach,
100%.
but
I've
as an
heard that
assistant
actually
coach.
he might take a year off. Like
Yeah.
he might just because he can. And I think that the thing is, I would take him in a heartbeat. In
Yeah.
a heartbeat. And we
Yeah.
got DeMarcus Covington. He's our new he's a young, I think first time coordinator for the Patriots. I'd take Robert Saleh as defensive coordinator. Like I think even though the Niners have all that talent, I remember Robert Saleh's day. That I feel like that was still the peak of that defense, just as
Yeah.
far as like schematically and everything. He was in. I think everybody's gonna forget about that because his Jets run wasn't that good. But dude's a hell of a defensive
Yeah.
coach.
But
He'll
like
get a
that's
defensive coordinator job pretty much wherever he wants. I
but
think.
that's the thing too. I mean, that New York media will
Yep.
fucking eat you alive. You know what I
And he
mean?
doesn't have the personality for it. I
No.
think that's the thing too. He's suited for a coordinator job where he doesn't have to talk more than once a week. I think they have to. But as the head coach, he's kind of a funny guy. Funny guy. not well suited for the New York media.
Yeah, and then the way that the team's performed while he's been head coach, that New York media just eating him alive. I feel like that's really starts to weigh on you. And I feel like he was kind of done with it too. Yeah, and so I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, he can go and coach for a team this season. It's
Mhm.
weird for teams to go and make a coordinator change like that
Right.
Yeah.
unless it's a firing. They're not going to hire somebody to come in and change their whole defensive scheme. But next season, he will for sure definitely have a defensive coordinator job lined up.
And it's just weird how they did it. Like, dragged him into his office 60 seconds, I think they said. Told him he was fired, escorted him. Like,
With security and
like
everything.
that just doesn't make sense. That's so disrespectful. Like, to me as a coach, like, I would have been like, I gave everything to this organization. Yeah, it wasn't as successful as you would like, but like, give me the audacity to just at least say goodbye to my team and give my farewells to them and just say what I need to say. Like, it's just, I don't know. I just feel like he
Well,
was
and you think about it
treated
too,
them
that
that way.
London game, they're very close to winning that game.
Yeah,
And if they win that game, he doesn't get fired.
different
And
story.
this was a close game too against the Bills. And if they win that game, they're first in the AFC East. And even if they win, I think if they won this game without him, they would have been first in the AFC East. Like because of the tiebreaker against the Bills or whatever. So it's
I
an
mean, the
interesting
season wasn't
timing.
gone. The
It
season
was
wasn't
not gone by
gone.
any means. Very
Just
weird
wasn't
timing.
performing to the owner's liking.
F the
Well,
owner.
the owner, I think, came in and made some decisions and
Oh, did you?
surprise. Oh, go
Sorry,
ahead. You go
sorry.
ahead.
Before you bring that up, the big news. I do want to say with the Hassan Reddick situation, the owner came out publicly and like begged Hassan Reddick to sign a contract.
Mm-hmm.
Like I thought that was insane.
Very weird.
You don't see owners do that. I mean, most that an owner's going to do is come and talk to you behind closed doors. They're
Right.
not going to come out publicly and kind of beg for a player to come play. Like that just puts all the power right back in Hassan Reddick's hands.
Seriously, and it's such a weird situation because when he requested this trade out of Philly, he was like, it was kind of like you would think that whatever team he gets traded to, the team that is trading for him is like,
He's going to sign a
you're
contract.
gonna sign him. You're gonna sign with us, right? And like we'll give you this, and then we're gonna shoot this trade, and you're gonna play for us. And the fact that he hasn't signed is very weird situation. Haven't quite seen anything like it. But yeah, let's break the good news or the bad news or whatever you think. Devontae Adams officially traded to the Jets for a conditional third round pick that could become a second, He could play as early as this Sunday night against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Seems like his hamstring is healed up really nicely. Biasha Wakanda works wonders, and he might
Oh,
be
that's
ready to go.
Alaska.
So, yeah, Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams reunited again. Feisty, I know you were very opinionated about this. We'll see how this affects Garrett Wilson. Does it make it a little bit better for him? Worse? What happens here? I don't know. What are you guys' thoughts on this trade? I know that the Steelers did express interest reportedly in getting him. Now they've expressed interest in about every wide receiver. It feels like they're trying to go for that, but yeah, I think clearly Devontae Adams wanted to play with one of two quarterbacks, and he picked Aaron Rodgers, or the Jets were the ones that could get the deal done.
Before you go ahead and say what you want to say, Feist,
And blast off.
I just want to throw in there. I don't like this trade, and I don't think a lot of Jets fans like this trade. I don't think Devontae Adams is the piece that you needed to go win a Super Bowl now. And that's what I've heard from Jets fans, across social media, is that this isn't the piece that you needed. I don't even think Hassan Reddick's the piece that they need to go win a championship right now, because their defense is playing really fucking good right now. And I don't know what the Jets need, but it wasn't Devontae Adams.
That's a good point. I think they need a better running game for sure. They need to figure that the hell out. I wanted to mention this because I watched it in that game, Feisty. Tyron Smith, man, talk about washed. That dude is washed, my
Booty
friend.
cheeks.
And one of the best left tackles that I've personally watched throughout my football watching life. He is not the same Tyron Smith, man. You could see it in that game. He was running around like a chicken with his head cut off. I mean, he couldn't move. He couldn't block anybody.
Has he been injured yet, though, this season?
I don't know if he
I
has.
haven't seen a thing, because he's usually every other 2 games he was injured with the Cowboys.
But I think that's why
seasons.
he kind of looks the way he does nowadays. But yeah, I think that's what you got to. Anyways, back to that. I think that's what you got to focus on: the offensive line, the running game. You got, like we talked about last week, you got 2 studs in the backfield, and they're still not running the football.
Sorry, Feist. One more thing. You're talking about the running game.
Shut the hell up, Feist.
I just want to get I just want to get some words in before Feist goes off on this little hot button topic he's got. That running game, you bring up the running game. I have Breece Hall in fantasy in a couple of leagues. It feels like, especially under Robert Saleh, they kind of really abandoned the running game and leaned really, really heavily on Aaron Rodgers.
Yep.
Because in his 3 interception game, he threw the ball like 57 times.
Yeah.
And Breece Hall touched the ball like 4 times in that game. And I just don't understand how you can go away from Breece Hall in general. He's just such a good running back, and he's done it. He's done it in the last couple of seasons with a worse offensive line than they have now. That could be a reason why the offense isn't performing to what it needs to be. They're just abandoning the run game before they really need to, and leaning so heavily on Aaron Rodgers. But just had to get that out there. Feist,
take it away.
You go right ahead, buddy.
Aaron Rodgers
back. Here we go.
Is trash. Devontae Adams is not going to help him. I genuinely, so there was reports last week that said that since Robert Saleh got fired, they're going to be sticking to the run game. They're going to be doing more run plays. Did they do that, boys, this game?
They did a little bit better. Breece Hall had a better day. 18 carries for 113 yards. So probably his best game in a long time.
Yeah.
So I think a little bit. I did see a report about that. Aaron Rodgers was fully on board with that style.
Well, and it just makes me so mad because it just sounds like it's Aaron Rodgers' team and everybody else has to follow. That's the thing that makes me more irritated than anything else is.
Well, he did the same thing in Green Bay, though, too.
Yeah, but Green Bay, he was actually good. I can understand that. Here, it's a washed-up old man that's high on drugs, Ashwakanda, and high on Alaska, Like it's just doesn't make sense to me because like you go get Devontae Adams. Like Devontae Adams, first of all, I think he's a bitch for doing this. Like, oh, I only want to go play with. Yeah, I'm gonna say it. I hate. I want to go play with only two quarterbacks, bro. Go play for a team that's gonna give you a championship run. I'm not saying the Cowboys would, right? I'm not saying go there. I'm not saying go to the Steelers. I'm not saying go to the Pat.
Why
Yeah,
would
that's
you
a good one.
even?
That's
Come
a good
on
one.
now.
That's a good one.
That was the first team you brought up. Come
No,
on.
no, I'm just saying we'll add on to the list. But like the Steelers aren't gonna give. I'm just meant naming our teams, but like go
Oh,
to a team that's actually gonna give you a championship run. Like the Bills needed a receiver. The like
I got one.
the Chiefs needed a receiver, and I knew that wasn't possible. Like I think the league would have not let that happen, to be honest with you,
I
because
don't
it's
think
just
they would
Well,
have
the
overpowered.
Raiders
stopped it,
wouldn't
but
do it just because
But like,
he's a
yeah,
good
and
team.
it's just so frustrating because it's like you're looking at it as what are the Jets officially going to really do this season? I honestly don't think that they do anything, even with Devontae Adams. Like Garrett Wilson had a good game. I think he had over 100 yards as well this game. But now who gets double teamed? Do they both get double teamed? Like it's going to be hard for them to not focus on one player more than the other. And I see this with Oregon, right? They play Tez Johnson a lot. When Tez Johnson is playing really well, Ivan Stubert, that's supposed to be our number two guy or even our number one guy at times, doesn't play well. So like when you have two-star wide receivers, sometimes it actually affects the chemistry of the team and it always doesn't work out the way that you really think it's going to work out. And I just feel like this is just a big mistake for the Jets. Like you guys said, I think that they could have improved elsewhere, but instead they went and gave what Aaron Rodgers wants. Aaron Rodgers wanted, I'm sorry, but he wanted Salah out, and now he wanted Devontae Adams in. Now you have everything, bro. I hope that Asha Wakanda kicks in and you find the next high gear and that you bring a championship to this team because you only got a 2 year left on your freaking career, and one of them is not going to be this year. So I just feel like this was just a little more frustrating for me because it's Aaron Rodgers' show, and he's just running the Jets to the ground. Like you said, that defense is super young. Garrett Wilson is really young. You just need something that's actually going to push that team to the next level. And this wasn't an Aaron Rodgers. I'm sorry, but he's not it for me.
Whew, man, laid into that guy. I don't know if you're just against Ashwakanda in general, if it's just against your beliefs or anything, but
Just
man,
Aaron Rodgers is
wow,
against my beliefs.
yeah. And you know what? I think obviously I have some bias. It's just the Jets, man. It's the curse of the Jets. I think that's what has hurt him a lot. But I think that though you make a good point. Sometimes it doesn't work, but sometimes it does. When CJ Stroud has Tank Dell, Nico Collins, and you add Stephon Diggs to it, and now Tank Dell's numbers go down a little bit, but the
Yeah,
offense gets
I was gonna
better,
say
right?
that.
And even Nico Collins, I think, got better. And I think that a lot of the times it makes it easier for the offense. And the Jets have some good wide receivers, decent, besides Garrett Wilson. And now they have two top wide receivers. And I think it'll help Garrett Wilson. I think that Devontae Adams, whether it just be his name or his actual talent, it's going to help Garrett Wilson. It's going to help him become more. I hope that Aaron Rodgers doesn't force feed him Devontae the ball all the time, but
She will.
but I think it helps. But I think Wes brings up a good point. Is that where you really needed
Yep.
to get this? Now, the other point is though, Devontae was wanting to be traded, and Devontae is a generational wide receiver. He was up there. I think he was like if you want to talk about like longevity, I still would pick Antonio Brown in that era, but I feel like Devontae Adams was like the closest in that era as far as like talent and as
What
good
about
of a wide
Julio?
receiver. Julio?
Yeah,
Julio
Julio
Jones.
Jones.
I'd say Julio too, but he was injured a lot, and I feel like I view him as a little bit earlier, but Julio too. Devontae Adams, I think, even is a little underrated. But I think that another thing, what you talked about, Feisty, where you're talking about how he didn't like the situation and he wanted to get out. I remember saying that, and I'm not even saying this to be like I freaking told you so or whatever I told you guys, but I remember when he left Green Bay and went to the Raiders, I'm like, this is not going to work out for him.
Yeah.
This is going to be so bad. This is going to be terrible for his career. It was. And to be fair, he still popped off in his first couple of seasons. I think I saw the stat that he was tied for the lead or had the lead in touchdowns since he joined the Raiders as a
With
wide
Derek Carr.
receiver. With Derek Carr and Jimmy Garoppolo, I think maybe Aiden O'Connell in there a couple of times. But no, yeah. So I never liked the move to the Raiders, so I get why he wanted to get out. But I see what you're saying. We'll have to see how it. I think it helps the Jets. It helps them. It doesn't solve the problems that they have, and it's going to be a long road for them moving forward.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers ain't good.
Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like that wasn't the move that the Jets needed to make, personally. I mean, giving up a future second round, probably a second round pick. I don't know what the stipulation is to make it a second round pick, but
usually those are like snaps played or whatever, right?
yeah, it's the same thing. It's the same thing with Justin Fields.
The more he plays,
the more he plays, it went from a 6 to a 4.
Gotcha.
I don't know if that's exactly how his trade worked. I don't know what the details are, but yeah, I don't know. Just giving up a second round pick for that guy, that sounds like a very Aaron Rodgers, I'm the GM type move. And that's that's kind of how it feels, you know what I mean? There was another move that was just made by the Jets.
The Jets?
Yeah, by the Jets that I thought was a very Aaron Rodgers move. I can't remember what it is right now off the top of my head. But there is another move in the NFL, if you want to go ahead.
There was, yeah. Maybe while you're thinking about that, and in the AFC East, and they saw one game of Drake May, and they said, God damn, we got to figure out something to keep up with this guy. The Bills go ahead and trade for Amari Cooper. So yet another guy not going back to the D. The second best team in Dallas. Amari Cooper to the Bills for a straight up third round pick. So a little bit higher than you're seeing these wide receivers go for, because didn't the Browns trade like a fourth round pick for him?
The fifth round.
Fifth round. And that was when he was in more of his prime too. Now Bills say, fuck it, we're going for a third rounder. So
he's definitely worth more than
the Bills.
Jerry Jones was like, hey, F you. We just want a fifth round pick for him.
Well, Jerry Jones didn't want to pay him.
No comment.
You are right, though, Kyle. It seems like these receivers are going for a higher draft pick than what we normally see. I don't know. The problem is that you can't tell what Amari Cooper is now because of how dog shit Deshaun Watson is. And the Browns at that. But with Josh Allen at the helm, Amari will probably most definitely become the number one there in with the Bills. But is this a good enough replacement to replace Stephon Diggs in that kind of offense? I don't know.
Yeah, good point. It is.
I don't know if it's Stephon Diggs, but
it's
a number one.
Amari Cooper, dude, he is so good, bro. If you can give him a good quarterback that actually can throw the ball, which Josh Allen can do, this is like a great thing. Funny thing is, I almost dropped him, boys. I have him in 2 of my leagues, and I actually did drop him in 1, and I had to cancel that transaction in one of our leagues because I was like, oh shoot, I didn't see that he got traded. I think this is a great move for his career.
Use your commissioner privileges there, did you?
Nah, I just deleted the transaction myself.
Let's not get into that controversy.
That was my league. I don't think that was our league. I didn't drop him in our league. He was on the bench. I think it was in Jenna's mom's league, or
I don't know.
Anyways, it don't matter.
Anyways, back to the actual trade.
I'm just having a good time this year. I'm 0-6. I will say it out loud. I am 0-6. Don't ever pick Christian McCaffrey after he has an MVP season. Don't pick him. Don't ever. Well, you know who you can pick? Amari. Hey, put that away. Amari Cooper is who you pick. Amari Cooper is who you can go after, and he'll get you going. So I'm really excited for him. I think that this was a good move by the Bills. They needed a number one guy. I don't think they had a number one guy, and if Josh Allen was able to do what he was able to do with those bunch of bums, and now you actually get a good wide receiver, reliable, deep threat receiver, like this is the best thing that could have happened for the Bills, and only to give up what they gave up, like. I still think that he's probably worth that fourth, third round pick.
Shows
I
you how
just
bad
think
of a
Jerry
GM
Jones is
Jerry Jones
stupid.
is, huh? Only got a fifth rounder for that guy.
That's all I gotta say.
Oh boy, yeah. And like I said, man, the AFC East is scrambling to find more ways to keep up with a certain guy in that division. But before we get there, let's get into our picks, boys. What an interesting week this was. So just to kind of spoil it, we all scored 8 points. We all had the exact same thing happen in all of our picks. So we essentially nothing happened this week. So I'll just get into it. My lock was the Falcons over the Panthers. Pretty easy pick there. Anybody over the Panthers usually they beat them 38-20.
I
How
said,
many
Kitty
times? Wait,
spread
hold on,
worked
hold
it.
on, hold on, hold on, hold on. How many times have you picked the team against
yeah,
the Panthers?
Yeah,
yeah,
I think
that's a
it's
exactly.
good
I think
question.
it's almost been every week now.
Every
I
week
mean,
at
pretty
least, if
much,
he
man.
gets the pick and we don't pay attention to it, he's picked the team against the Panthers.
Uh
Seems to work pretty well, huh?
huh.
Going into my underdog, just missed it, man. Just missed it. The Commanders were 6.5 point underdogs to the Ravens, and this was a really great game. Lamar Jackson, Jaden Daniels, the show proved to be what we thought it would be. Both quarterbacks were electrifying. Ravens, I think, just a little bit more experienced of a team, better team at this point in the season, end up beating the Commanders 30-23. And then Feisty, just to rub more salt on the wound, because you want to talk about a team I always like to pick against. This is another one, the Browns. And I know because the Eagles are not really good this season, but I was like, oh, they're playing the Browns. I'll take that. 9 point favorites over the Browns, and they end up beating the Browns only 20-16. And even though they beat the Browns, you got Eagles fans chanting "Fire Nick" for the second time this season in a win. Eagles fans, man, we know one of them, Mr. Syme. They're crazy for sure, and they definitely don't like losing, and apparently they don't like winning unless it's good enough. And Nick Sirianni even
Ruthless.
clapped back and yelled back at them in the middle of the game.
Hey, that's that Philly. That's what you need in Philly. That's the head coach. You know what I mean?
Yep, same mindset.
That's how you know that's how you know Philly runs through his blood, man.
He hates them; they hate him.
Yeah.
Right where he
I hate
belongs.
them,
Uh-huh.
but
He did apologize the next day for it. And then to get into more dog shit Brown news, the Browns are just. There's no way. I don't believe this report at all. I want to see what you guys think really quick.
I saw it too.
Browns head coach Kevin Stefanski says that nobody, and we mean no one, is forcing him to play Deshaun Watson, and that Watson is the quarterback that gives them the best chance to win.
Bullshit.
Now, have you ever seen that meme that says lie? That's that's what I feel. There's no fucking way that's true, man. Like we said last week, Jameis Winston gives you a better chance to win. Hell, I think they still got DTR, and DTR came in a couple games, kind of played decent. DTR gives you a better chance to win. There's no chance that is true.
Deshaun's not going to give you the best chance to win. This is definitely the owner saying, I paid this guy $250 million. He's playing.
Yeah.
And that sucks too, because Kevin Stefanski, I think, is a really good head coach, and he's, he took the Browns to the playoffs, and the Browns look like a different team, for the last couple of years. And I think Deshaun Watson's just fucking ruining that whole thing.
I think he just has a mindset to get your money's worth for how much money they paid this guy, especially all guaranteed. So it's unfortunate, but they put themselves in there, and the Browns will always be.
Dog shit.
Damn. Did
Timing was off on that one.
It's all
Wait,
good.
wait,
We
wait,
we
wait.
love it when Wesley says it.
Dog shit.
So it's no surprise. I just don't think that this is. I just don't think that this
Dude,
is
you're
what
eating
they
the
need.
salary either way.
Yeah.
You're eating it either way. Just fucking bench him. He doesn't care. I don't think he cares. Like you guys
No, he
brought
don't.
up
He
last week,
walked off the
he walked
field.
off the field. He don't care. He'll fucking ride on the bench. He doesn't care. So what? So why should you fucking bench
I mean,
him?
he was injured.
Move
He was
on.
injured last season. wasn't sitting on the sideline with the team. He was sitting up in the
In the
suite.
booth, all like, yeah, just
He doesn't
looking
care
like
about the
yeah.
team. He doesn't give a shit about the team. Do you know who gives a shit about the team? Jameis Winston. Jameis Winston cares about every fucking team he plays for.
More than anybody has ever cared about anything. Jameis Winston's still giving those pregame speeches when he knows Deshaun Watson's going to go out on that field and just lay it under.
Oh
Man,
man.
it's unfortunate for the Browns. Good for other AFC North um, rivals. You know what I'm excited to see? This season is actually a really good season. And I apologize for my earlier comment. I don't know if you guys remember about me being upset that they picked the AFC North for Hard Knocks. I think this is going to be fun. If we see some of this Deshaun Watson shit, the Bengals having their surprise. I know they start slow, but this has been surprisingly slow. The quarterback controversy with Pittsburgh, and then the Ravens' slow start to what they are now. I think that's going to be hella entertaining, and I can't wait to watch that. And Vice, something I think that you can't wait for. Maybe we're talking 1-6. I think Nick Chubb returning to the field next week.
I
Did you drop him?
No, I didn't drop him.
Nice.
All I know is I couldn't wait. I hope that he goes back to what he was doing. I think it's going to be a slow build up for him, right? But I'm just excited to see him back because I think I picked him up in like 3 or 4 of my 5 leagues, or 3 out of 4 leagues that I do.
I think I remember you saying something too, like, you guys, just let me get him. Just wait.
Yeah.
Just wait till that late season run.
All I'm saying is I'm definitely not going to be last in the losers bracket.
That's what you said. You're building your team up for the losers bracket tournament.
You can't win them all, but you can't also
them all.
lose them all.
Just don't want to have to wear the dress.
That's my philosophy. You would love to see this butt in a dress, okay?
Oh boy, let's not get into that. Feisty, we have heard enough about that. Wesley, who did you have in your picks this week?
All right. That finally, I've had a couple good weeks in a row. Point totals didn't change this week, but it's a good thing for me, at least a little bit.
It didn't go in the other direction. Yep.
My lock this week was the Bucks. They played the Saints. They were once again 30.5 favorites.
Yep, that's right.
Forgot
about that.
Other picks. No, I wanted to see the Bucks versus. I knew the Bucks were going to win. The Saints had a rookie quarterback going, so there's my lock. And then underdog, we had the Seahawks versus 49ers. Didn't turn out as well as I thought it would.
Underdogs were tough to pick this week. I did want to mention just real quick, that Bucs Saints game was insane. I don't know if you guys got to catch any of that. It was 51-27 was the end score. But I think it was like the Saints had the lead going into the fourth quarter. Like I think it was the Bucs came out scored 17-0.
Yeah.
And then the Saints scored 27 points in the second quarter. They had a punt return touchdown. I think they had some interceptions and everything. Lots of turnovers in this game. But then the Buccaneers ended up with 20 points in the fourth quarter and really ran away with it. I was watching it with our buddy Talbot, and boy, was that guy going through it in that game. And I think Spencer Radler played good and bad. He had a lot of really good throws. Some plays where he looked like a rookie, but I'm very impressed. He's a 5th round pick. He was the He was actually the next quarterback picked after Bo Nix. And look, I saw that on the graphic. So all those quarterbacks went in the first 12 picks, and then Spencer Rattler was the next one. So I think I've seen enough. I think the Saints should ride with this guy the rest of the season.
You would.
I did see
Anyways.
that Baker Mayfield was forcing a lot of passes in that game.
He was. But Chris Godwin, he ate that game, man. I'm loving that pickup, dude. Holy crap. He's now the number one, I think, wide receiver in the league for fantasy. A lot in due to this game. I think he had 11 receptions, 125 yards, and 2 tuds, but he's been popping off, man. He's been the kind of a unsung hero. I can't remember when I picked him. It was late in like 5th, 6th round, maybe. He's been better than CeeDee Lamb. So
I'll give you Christian McCaffrey for him.
oh yeah, I need a little bit more, but we'll talk about that.
All right, boys. Let's get into the game of the week. The game of the week.
America's game of the week.
My random. I had the Lions versus Cowboys. Guess who I picked? Vice, I want to hear it.
I don't want to.
I chose the Lions, and guess what the line was? It was 3.5 favorites. 3.5. That's all they gave.
Wow,
That's all they
close
gave
game,
for that one.
How about them Cowboys? Woo-hoo! Oh, this is what made me just, happy to see football again. Let's go, dude. What a game. What a game.
Jacobs, what did I text you when you texted me about this game?
I don't remember. What'd you say?
I said, if you don't expect much, you're not disappointed when you lose. I literally texted you guys in the group chat that, oh man, it feels so good not to expect anything and not to worry about. Like I said, that Oregon game, I was on highs, I was on lows. I was actually cooking dinner, and I'm like, did I do this? I don't remember. And I was enjoying the game, right? But this Cowboys game, I almost want Dak to throw a pick every time he's on the field.
He did.
And he basically did. And you know what the funniest part is? It was Jerry World, and it was his birthday.
I think I'm starting to see what Feisty's plans were. On his birthday, Lions come into Jerry World. And I don't think it was the guns. I think you were trying to give the motherfucker a heart attack or something.
Man.
And
Yeah,
it just didn't quite work, buddy, though.
If you guys know anything, the Cowboys are hurting in every area. They couldn't stop anything at all. Lions came out the first play, popped off, got a freaking quick touchdown. We got on the field, didn't do anything. Actually, we had the ball first, I think, and we scored a field goal.
You had a good drive. It got stalled out. You went down the field, but then you got field goal. Yeah, Detroit, man. There was first 2 touchdowns. I said, "Oh boy, oh boy."
What did we do our first 4 times touching the ball?
I think he just said, "I don't want this." Here you go, Detroit.
Detroit. I think he thought that they were wearing the Cowboys jersey too. So, well, we just couldn't. We couldn't stop them. Like the Detroit Lions.
Dallas was playing hot potato, but the Lions didn't get the message.
Oh, they're
just like, I just don't want to lose. Here you go.
They could do anything that they wanted to. They were playing all these tricks.
They were trying to.
I don't know if you guys saw. I stopped watching after I think they scored their 3rd touchdown. I think it was.
Linemen. Was it 2 different linemen that scored touchdowns, or was it just
no? Neither of them did, but they tried. They threw. Yeah. They had a jump ball, I think, to their left guard or left tackle. And then Penei Sewell on a hook and fucking ladder. Yeah. A lot of people are actually talking shit on the Lions, man. Like why they freaking unloaded their bag on the Cowboys and all these crazy plays.
Some coaches want to see what'll work. This was a preseason game for the Lions, man.
You know what? This is perfect. We can literally do anything we want right now.
They wanted to see what they could do against a fucking infirmary in Dallas.
Man, and that's what you saw, dude. And
He's done. He's done
you know
talking.
who's not good? You know who's not good?
Dak.
Trayvon Diggs
Yeah.
ain't good.
You know
He
who
is
else ain't
not
good?
good,
Let's,
bro.
let's keep the list going. We'll all
Okay.
say it. Dak
Uh-huh.
ain't good.
Zeke?
CD Lamb ain't good.
Well, don't say that. I need CD. Okay, need CD. Need CD. CD's the only good thing there.
Zeke is fat.
Did he turn into Eddie Lacy?
Uh-oh.
Not quite there yet.
Oh.
On his
Not
way?
quite there yet. Anyways, it definitely was a sad game for us. It just shows
What was
just
the final
another
score
game.
there, Feisty? Make sure the
Uh,
people know.
well, if you're a Lions fan, it was 49 or 47-9. If you're a Cowboys fan, it was 9-47. Didn't matter.
Gotcha.
Nice.
Good game.
Way to make
America's
yourself feel
game
better.
of the week, man. And you know what Jerry Jones did? Feisty, I think you'll love this. I don't know if you've seen this yet, but I just think that
I've
you
seen
haven't
some.
had enough today, so I wanted to bring this up. He goes on a podcast this morning, and the guys are asking him, like, hey, they're talking about the free agency. They're talking about the offseason, how he didn't sign a lot of people. And let me read the quote to you.
He popped off. Hey, go ahead and do that Jerry voice too.
Oh, God. I don't know if I'm ready. It's been we've been going. Let's see. This is not your job. Your job isn't to let me go over all the reasons that I did something, and I'm sorry that I did it. That's not your job. I'll get somebody else to ask these questions. I'm not kidding. You're not going to figure out what this team's doing right or wrong. If you are, or any 5 or 10 like you need to come to this NFL owners meeting that I'm going to today with 32 teams here, you geniuses. Y'all really going to think you're going to sit here with a microphone and tell me all the things that I've done wrong without going over the rights? Listen, I know we're talking to a lot of the great fans and great listeners, and I'm very sorry for what happened out there Sunday. I'm sick about what happened out there Sunday. But if you don't think that I'm not able to get some new hosts in here, then you got another thing coming. I might have made up that last part a little bit, but that's what you want to hear from Jerry Jones, huh? Your favorite buddy.
I really don't want to watch Cowboys football games
Oh,
until
no.
Jerry Jones is on. Like, that's how bad it is. Like, the man just wants to be involved in everything. The Cowboys don't have any money to do anything. And anytime they've paid somebody, it's backfired on them. They haven't been able to produce. I've said this from the start. Oh, and I had this backlash earlier when you talked about Tony Romo. Dude, Tony Romo was in the same situation as we are right now. Like he had Des Bryant, he had DeMarco Murray. Like they had such a great team,
That
and
offensive line.
they didn't do
Hey,
shiz. Like
hey.
I literally like earlier when you said that, I was like, holy crap. Dak is the same thing Tony Romo was. CD Lamb is the same thing Dez was.
In the same
Like
number. And if you think about it,
same
if you draw
number.
that 4 a little differently, it looks like a 9.
Oh my
But that's the
gosh! Like
problem, though, bro. That's the problem, though, is that Tony Romo wasn't a bad quarterback.
they
He
just couldn't do
wasn't a
anything.
bad quarterback. They
But
just
you say
couldn't
that
do
about
anything.
Dak too, bro.
I don't think that Dak is a bad quarterback. I understand he had a bad game this week, but I
Bro, he
don't
has a
think he's
bad
a.
game every week. Come on
He
now, bro.
doesn't.
The dude
No, he
doesn't.
doesn't. Remember how he
I
started
really don't
off?
see what you see in him.
I see at least a top 10 quarterback. I just don't think Dak's the problem. I think Jerry Jones is the problem in the way he
Oh,
built the football team.
100%.
I
But you
don't
can't
think
pay
Dak is the
somebody 60
problem.
million and expect him to
But you
play the
can't
way
pay
he's
him
playing.
60 million and then expect the team to just play good. You have to have other pieces around him,
And
Well, and
he
I
and
think
hasn't.
they don't have the pieces.
Tom Brady might have been the one that said this, but I thought it was a really good point. Yeah, pretty sure it was Tom Brady. The Lions are a team that are very, very one-dimensional right now. Everybody in the world and their mama knows that they cannot run the football. And so defenses don't have to worry about that. Makes it very one-dimensional. I think he was talking about he wants to see some, explosive plays on offense, try to start off the drive, first downs with a throw or with a screenplay, something that can work. Then go to your running game on second down, try to get that going, keep the defense guessing. But right now, no defenses are guessing. We all know what the Cowboys have to do to win games. And if you can stop that, then you can stop them completely, which I
Right.
think is what we saw with the Lions.
And it definitely goes to the T, and it's just so frustrating because you had a team that last year the defense was so good and they could have carried you anywhere. You lost a few people. Like it's everybody who says this is our year. I just laugh at them because it literally won't change until Jerry Jones is gone.
I haven't really heard that much this year.
Oh no,
Uh-uh.
that's because we're
People are
ass.
starting to
It's not.
listen
We're
to
not.
you.
You remember that meme that Kyle sends you every fucking year?
Oh,
It's
he
that
sends me a
fucking
lot every
cycle.
year. The same
It's
thing.
the
Yeah.
cycle.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. He sends it to you every fucking year in the group chat.
Well, we can't have that cycle this year
It's
because we
not that
started
same.
it
It's
there.
not the same year.
We just have stayed in the same spot, like
Uh huh.
where we suck. So
That's why I'm
it's
so
unfortunate.
pissed that the fucking Steelers lost to you.
Yeah, I feel bad for you
Ooh.
guys. No, that means we're a better team than the Steelers. Anyways,
Does
it
it?
just really does not. It
Ooh.
doesn't make sense to me until Jerry Jones is gone. This team is not going to succeed. He just needs to step away and be an owner. Let somebody else come in. I think that this offseason there's going to be some big changes. I think Bill Belichick will come in. To be honest,
I
like
was gonna
no
say,
joke.
buddy. I
I
was gonna
think Bill
say.
Belichick
Not with
does
Jerry
come
You
in,
Jones at
ready?
the
and
helm.
he's going to be the one that argues with Jerry Jones because that's what Bill Belichick does.
They're friends. Apparently, they're friends. I
Jerry
think.
Jones wants to hire people that he can control. That's why he hired Mike McCarthy.
Yep,
I think.
but you
I
can't
think it
cut.
might happen.
But you
I think
can't
it might
control
happen.
Bill Belichick, which I'm okay with. And
Oh my god,
what's his
fucking
name?
hate him.
Mike
I don't know.
Zimmerman. He's
Robert
a
Kraft did it
terrible
pretty well for a
defensive
while.
coach. What?
Robert Kraft did it pretty well.
No, then Robert Kraft just came out today, which I'm so sick of this fucking guy just going off and trying to play this babyface move. Just real quick, he talked about how he gave Bill Belichick too much power and he should establish more checks and balances. Now, Bill Belichick earned that power. Well, no shit, he did. But now he's coming out and he's like, that's why the Patriots' demise happened. And I'm like, I
Bullshit.
don't know, man. Like you can't just fucking say that. Tom Brady
You
left.
can't lose. You
Mac
can't
Jones
lose
was
the
a fail.
best player of all time and then expect your team not to go into a rebuild.
Yeah,
Especially when you did because we did go to the playoffs our first year with Mac Jones, but yeah, anyways, that's a conversation for another day. Didn't really want to
Yeah.
get into it, but it kind of like came up and like I'm just so sick of like Robert Kraft playing that card now that Bill is gone. I'm
yeah,
like, dude, and Bill Robert did a lot. Those three guys, ownership a lot of times, and you're seeing it, Feist, where it can actually go a long way to show how much goes into that team. So Robert Kraft, Tom Brady, and Bill Belichick all were key parts to that dynasty. But now Robert Kraft is like, man, I should have done more. Should have told Bill, hey, dial it back a little bit. Really? You're going to tell a 6-time head coach, winning Super Bowl champion
7.
for you, and even more
no,
as an
he had six.
assistant? Like,
I know, as an assistant,
stop.
but he still won a
So,
Super Bowl.
yeah.
Hey,
Yeah,
speaking of the Pats,
Yeah,
Feisty,
feisty.
what's
I
your
want to talk
picks?
about your picks because you said you have no expectations, right, for the Cowboys. So you definitely wouldn't have like expected them to win or anything, right?
yeah. So one more other thing we forgot to mention is before we get into those dumb picks, um, on my part, Aiden Hutchinson ended up having a gruesome leg injury. Had to had an
Or yeah,
emergency
we
surgery where
we were
they had
talking
to put a
about that
rod in it.
earlier.
Yeah,
Yeah, where Wesley because Wesley said he saw that report that
he might be
he might be
back.
able to be returned. Yeah,
Yeah, he's definitely
it was
not coming back.
terrible, man. They wouldn't even show it on TV, and like I saw a clip of it. Oh my gosh, that thing just snapped completely.
I didn't even watch it. I stopped watching after we started sucking in the second drive. So, unfortunate because he's still young and he's still super good for that team, and that's why you go after Hassan Reddick. Makes sense. But
Well, who was
um,
your underdog, Feisty? I'm really excited to hear who your underdog was this week.
I honestly I think the way I looked at this. So my underdog that I picked for this week were the Cowboys. I thought that maybe because the Lions were coming off of a bye week,
Hmm.
it would slow them down. It didn't. I really want to give a quick shout out and give his roses due. Dan Campbell, that guy is a dog, bro. What he's doing for that organization and for that team, everybody believes in his system. Everybody believes in one system, and I wish I could have that because that's what you need in the team. And they're going places. Like maybe not now, maybe not in a couple years. They've
I
already done
I
it,
think now,
but
dude. I think now they're ready
like
for it,
he's built that.
especially with the way the Niners are playing. Like we said,
Yeah,
I got the Lions. Wesley said the Packers. I got the Lions out of the NFC North, and I think the NFC. I think they're ready, man.
yeah. They're just very like yeah, and that's why they shot on the Cowboys 3.5, more like freaking 50 points favorites, man. That was a disgusting game. Another thing was Zeke said uh that he was dumbfounded by like the role that he had, but then Jerry Jones comes back and says he's actually protecting Zeke. Protecting him from what? Because
What?
Zeke wanted more touches in the red zone. Like that's all Zeke was supposed to be. He
What's
was
the
supposed to be just
problem?
a.
What's
I,
the
I
like? What's the problem? You know what I mean? Like they have no number one running back.
yeah. And why would you not use a guy that smash mouth football? He literally just pounds the freaking. Anytime you see him run and you need short gain, he's the
Who's
guy to
the
go to.
who's that
Dallo.
second string guy? Dowdle.
Dallo. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean Dowdle kind of popped off against the Steelers, I
he
think,
did, but he
and
didn't do anything this week.
I really thought that he might become that number one, but I feel like they're trying to protect Zeke, like you said.
Like it just doesn't make sense. And Dalvin Cook, what is going on with that? Like that's the
I don't know.
part
I
I don't
dropped him.
get.
I dropped
What's
him.
going on?
I had him. I even drafted him in my Yahoo league, and I dropped him now.
Well, it just doesn't make sense. The guy, it's week 7. We have a
It's
bye
coach's
week this week.
decision. It's
Like,
coach's decision. That's what they keep saying.
oh my
It
gosh, it's week 7, and you don't have this guy activated from the practice squad. Not even he's not even being on the regular team. He's not even active from the practice squad. He's just collecting a paycheck, basically. I mean,
uh-huh.
Especially when you haven't had any success
at all.
from any running. I mean, Rico Dowdell's been your number one guy, but I know Dalvin Cook. He's old. He's not going to be Dalvin Cook. He's not going to come in and solve the problems. But when you have nothing to gain on, you might get something. He might be a little bit better. Why not try
Yeah,
it? Right? Why
yeah.
bring him into the practice squad? Why even talk about that big of a name if you're not going to use him?
It really doesn't make sense to me. I'm dumbfounded by that. Forget about Zeke being dumbfounded by the role. It don't make sense to me. And at the end of the day, I'm not Jerry Jones because everybody else. I really would get fired if I was in Jerry Jones' world because of how much shit that I would say to him. He needs somebody to give him a reality check.
Bill
Um,
Belichick, baby, you might get the goat. I
I
think
think a
that'll
lot
be
of
good for
Dallas
you guys.
fans feel that same way. So
uh, everybody's like they're writing letters, but like they're trying to sign petitions. Like that's why that guy went at him for that podcast interview or whatever that radio interview. So, but moving on, my random, I could talk about the Cowboys game. They sucked. We suck. I don't care. If I don't expect anything. It makes me feel better about it every week. It's almost like a surprise. It's Christmas if they win. But my random team this week was the Bengals. They were 3.5 favorites over the Giants, and they end up winning their game 17-7 on the Sunday Night Football.
Joe Burrow's got
That
to
game
throw
fucking
for
sucked.
Joe Burrow's got to throw for like 100 touchdowns for the Bengals to win every week. I feel like.
Dude, that freaking 60-yard rushing touchdown pissed me the hell off. So I had like a 90-something% chance to win going into Sunday Night Football. And my opponent in our league, my opponent had Joe Burrow. And dude pops off on the first drive for freaking 12 points on that one play. I was so pissed, but luckily Dalton Kincaid got me the win. But yeah, some Joe Burrow never freaking does and gets the win. Barely beats the Giants, man. How is this the Sunday Night Football game?
Yeah,
This
who
is
knows?
crazy.
Every team's got to
But
have their primetime slot. That's why
And the
Thursday night
Steelers get
games.
freaking 2 of them in like 3 weeks.
well, that other one was
Hey,
because of the
why did the
Cowboys.
Cowboys get the fucking game of the week?
Because they're
Hey,
because
it's
that's
the
Exactly,
Cowboys.
it's the same
I
thing.
think I think that the Cowboys or
Cowboys have like
Fox
the most
announced it. It was like,
television games.
Tom, I know that you've called out of your 6 games, you've called 4 Cowboys games already.
The
Literally.
Raiders were playing an away game in their own stadium. That's how many
And they
fans
had
the
more.
Steelers have. You know what
And
I
now
mean?
we
Yeah,
got
no,
Jets.
I
We got
get.
Jets and Steelers this Sunday night, dude. Boy, at least we get to get some early night's rest, huh?
Hey, let's get into my lock. I picked the best team in Dallas, as I so call it, the Houston Texans against the Pats. They were a 3 point, or no, they were 7 point favorite, and so I ended up getting 3 points off of that. I don't remember what the final score was,
Oh,
but
I remember.
oh
I
wait, hold
remember.
on. Go ahead, Kyle. What's the final score?
So the Pats lost 41-21. But before we
Vice,
get into that,
you're laughing like he
Shh,
cares.
let me enjoy my moment, you biatch.
before we get into that, let's get the serious news out of the way. Nico Collins was officially placed on IR during this week, so he'll be out at least 4 weeks. And then more news on the Jabril Peppers thing. You guys were definitely right. I was just off and confused about the situation, didn't know what would happen, but forgot about the commissioner's exempt list, which is what Jabril Peppers was placed on during this investigation. Robert Kraft came out and said if the accusations are true, Peppers is gone, like without even a thought. But he does stress patience. So, like I said, we'll see what happens. We'll see who's on the right side, who's on the wrong, hopefully. And I feel we talked about it, feel the same way. If what he's being accused of is true, fuck that guy, lock him up, get him out of the NFL. If not, it's terrible. Hopefully he can make it back.
What are you talking about?
Back
The Browns will sign him.
They are well known for that.
Or the Raiders. Or the
Controversial
Raiders.
stuff.
Or the Raiders. Yeah, or the Raiders.
But yeah, and another thing, Joe Mixon returned, and boy, did he return! He returned with a vengeance, man.
Popped off.
He was killing us. Our run defense was terrible. Gerard Mayo called out the defense. Run fits were absolutely atrocious. Haven't really seen this from the Patriots. We've seen a lot of other bad things, but we haven't really seen that. But let's get into it. Let's get into it. We've been talking about it.
He's
I've
been
been
waiting for
talking
this
about it
all
all
night.
season. All season, I've been talking about how I don't want Drake May to touch the field. Well, it was inevitable. We had talked about it, Feisty. I remember when we were on and you were saying you were just getting the sense that it was just coming sooner and sooner. And here it was, week 6, and God damn, do we got a guy. We got a guy. Okay. He came out, and I remember I texted our fantasy group chat because it didn't start off perfectly. He actually threw a terrible pick. Wesley would call it a Brock Purdy pick, overthrow. He way overthrew
No,
his
Brock Purdy
receiver,
was underthrows.
underthrown. So he never overthrows it, only underthrows it.
Underthrows.
You know, at least this game.
Okay. I just wanted to
If it's anything
get that
past if it's anything past 30 yards, then it's definitely underthrown for Brock Purdy. But you know,
Okay. Now that we got that clear. So he threw a bad pick, and then I think I said, hey, Drake May got his first career tackle, first quarter of his first game. But after that, man, it looked pretty good. He did have a sack fumble. So this is kind of what I really feel like turned this score into what it was. Honestly, the best 20-point loss I've ever seen. I know there are no moral victories, but for fans there are, and this was a huge moral victory. I'll take it. He did have one more pick that was, just fucking nuts. The dude caught it around our tackle, around his body, off a tip from the line, and made the interception. I don't really blame Drake May for that one. We had one other fumble where Austin Hooper fumbled it after catching the ball. Other than that, man, it looked pretty freaking good. His first touchdown was a 40-yard touchdown, and it was at the end of the quarter. Perfect pass down the sideline, kind of like what Mike Williams apparently was supposed to run, but didn't. But Drake May, dude, put it in a bucket, and that's something that we haven't seen in years. And I mean it. We haven't seen that since Mac Jones, and even before that with Cam Newton, because Cam Newton, his shoulder was all fucked up. He couldn't throw, and he dropped it in. So that 40-yard touchdown pass was the longest completion by a Patriots quarterback over the last 3 seasons. If that tells you anything, what our offense is. And Drake May led the Pats in rushing, which in this sense wasn't a good thing because he had 5 attempts for 38 yards. We clearly missed Ramondre Stevenson in this game. But he became, I think, the first quarterback to throw for 3 touchdowns and lead his team in rushing since 1990, I believe. His total stats were 220 for 33, 233 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, threw for more yards than CJ Stroud, and was the first QB this season to throw more than 200 yards against the Texans defense. So I think the thing is, like, wasn't what I wanted. I wanted him to sit. And I still kind of think it's still a good philosophy. But he did get hit quite a bit, I will say. But the offensive line looked the best that it has this year. And I think that part of that is Drake May made them look better, because I think what I'm realizing, what you can really tell is that Jacoby either one couldn't make certain throws or just tried to force certain things or was just so afraid to not turn the ball over that he wouldn't. And he held the ball too much. And that's why a lot of those sacks happen. Now, the offensive line is still not good. I'm not trying to pretend all of a sudden it is. But man, dude, Drake May did impress. I mean, Pop Douglas looked good. He had 6 receptions for 92 yards. 92 yards, which is the most for a Pats wide receiver in a single game since 2022.
Yikes.
He said after the game he would run through a wall for Drake May. And then even Gerard Mayo said that the team let Drake May down, that this wasn't it wasn't his fault. And now what I love too is Drake May come out and said, like, he didn't take the credit. He didn't say it was a good game for him. He said we lost, we got embarrassed at home, and he said the right things. So I think what this showed, I think the Patriots had this plan in place. Even though he's young, he can do more for the offense. I think even in preseason, he won the job in preseason, but the Patriots stuck with their plan.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see him, man. He definitely makes the Patriots offense better. He's a guy that you can build around. Now, just please protect his ass. Keep him healthy, because that's definitely not what you want to do. And also continue to not put too much expectation, because if he's gonna probably play bad. In some games, a lot of our next few games are against tough teams. So don't, again, I think I want to stress no real expectations for the season, other than the most important thing is developing Drake May. That's what we got to focus on first and foremost. So other than that, we got a big game this week in London. Pats versus Jags, potentially for the number 1 pick. Has a lot of number 1 pick ramifications. So
Seems
I don't know
like
if
if
I
Drake
want
May
us to
plays,
win this or lose this, but
seems as Drake May plays, might get a dub.
oh shit. We'll have to see going into some picks, because that might help us out. But yeah, no, honestly, I'm ecstatic about what I've seen, and he looks really good. He does. He looks really good. I think that there's things that he can do better. There were times where he was making bad throws. That pick was terrible. He wasn't pressured or anything. That was all him. But he also made throws that I have not seen, literally have not seen since Tom Brady. Wes, you can kind of attest to what, like you've talked about since Big Ben's last year, where he couldn't really throw, how we just haven't really seen actual offense. And it's kind of been about the same timeline. I can't remember exactly the years, but I saw some real offense, and that was really encouraging to see. And I think it's something we can definitely build around. I'm excited for it. Mayday, AFC East. That's why, like I said, that's why they had to trade for all these wide receivers. Somebody's got to catch up. So, no, I'm excited, man. I was impressed by what I saw. I know it was a 20-point loss. Texans could be a Super Bowl contending team this year, so I think that's another thing. A lot of turnovers. We can fix that. We might be, in a good spot, especially going into next year.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing is with Drake May, just don't put too much expectation on him. And I feel like the New England organization and the fans in general, not saying you, but just the fans in general. I mean, basically, you're replacing Tom Brady still. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? That's
Mhm.
that's basically what it is. And there's a still, even with the bad quarterback play for the last few years, you're still replacing Tom Brady, and
Yep.
those are huge shoes to fill. You're never going to replace Tom Brady. I mean, the only guy that we feel like in this era that might touch Tom Brady is Patrick Mahomes. So
Yep.
that says a lot. Just, make sure that as a fan of the New England Patriots, just don't put too much on Drake May.
Let him develop. Let him develop. Give him time.
Well said, Big Country. I think that you, like you said, don't let him enjoy the game. Let him, even if he makes mistakes, like let him learn from it quickly. The biggest thing is confidence. Like if you destroy a player's confidence, especially in that quarterback position where the game is always in your hands, it's hard to come back from it. Like we've seen what it did for Tua and when he was with Flores, and now when he's with Mike McDaniel's. Like it's a different thing. So don't destroy that confidence for him. Let him build up. And I think that they still could have gone away with 3 more games of him sitting out and then bringing him in. But
Mm-hmm.
like I mentioned to you, Jacobs, it's been coming, and it seems like it's the time now, but just don't let him get that confidence destroyed from him. And it's good to see on one end finally the Patriots look good. It's hard. It's been hard for you. I know that for sure to see them compete for dog shit like the Cowboys. So, and I don't know if you
Yeah,
can compete
Patriots
with
and
them.
Cowboys in the same sentence, huh? How about it? How about it? We never thought we would have said that both when we were good and bad, but here we are. But yeah, no, you stressed that. Don't put too much expectation on him. Let him develop. I think the main thing too is build that offensive line. Like, let's take a fucking left tackle next year, no matter what. I think I like that. We saw that, with back to the Lions and the Bengals. Penei Sewell, look at what the Lions are doing. They picked him after Jamar Chase, right? And not saying Jamar Chase is a bad pick, but we need to build up that offensive line. That's where it starts. And Drake May is athletic enough that even if he doesn't have as much of playmakers getting open, he can create things. He can make things come open. If the defense is worried about your running, we've seen it with the Ravens. We've seen it with the Commanders. They're going to be a little more stressed. So I like it. Again, no, I'm not a guy that's like, hey, Drake May's now our savior. We're good. We're fixed. We still got a lot to do. But it's encouraging to see, and at least it might be a little more fun because I think Jacoby Brissett. I think it's been obvious like he was not the right bridge quarterback. I've said it. I wish we got Joey Flacco, but that would have been different. I think if we had Joe Flacco, he might actually sit the whole season because Joe Flacco's that much better. But
Sure.
yeah, I'm excited to see it. Anyways, moving along, pick'em standings. Like I said, nothing really changed except for we all just got 8 more points. So I'm still in the lead at 42 and a half. Feisty, you're at 38, and Wesley, you're at 18.5. So nothing really changing there. We'll see if anything changes this week. So let's get into our picks. Mine, lock. Guess which team I picked to beat.
Anybody that plays the Panthers, I'm guessing.
This week, the Commanders are 7.5-point favorites over, you guessed it, the Carolina Panthers. Can't believe. Hey, I was the one. I got my third pick this week. You guys got to pick before me, so you guys let that happen. All right. And then my underdog is, you guessed it, the New England Patriots. They get 5.5 points, 5.5 underdogs against the Jaguars in London. Maybe there's something I'm missing. Maybe I really am that big of a Pats fan. I don't think so. I haven't really been picking them this season. But that's a lot of points in London against a shitty team with a team where our offense is looking better and the Jags don't really have that much of a defense. So I like that pick, and hopefully I can gain all those points. And then my random was the Colts. They are 3.5 favorites over the Dolphins. I pretty much just picked this one because Tua is still going to be out for next week. So feeling pretty good about that one as well.
Well, let's get into the winning picks this week.
For the how many weeks in a row?
Yeah, did he say that last week? I think I remember exactly. I quote.
Hey, we still
This
fucking
is my
tied.
week.
We still tied. All
Sure.
right.
He didn't
It's not
lose
a
this
loss.
week, okay? Anyways.
I mean, Feist, you can repeat what you say with the Cowboys, you know. So my lock, I'm not gonna no. My lock this week is the Bengals, who are 6.5 favorites over the Browns.
Oh, just picking against the Browns, huh?
The Browns
'Cause
are
I do that every week.
Dog shit. There we
Yeah.
go.
And then for my underdog, before you even say it, Feist, Homer. I got the Steelers as 1.5 underdogs against the Jets on Sunday Night Football.
I didn't even get a Homer comment. What the hell? You
I
guys are leaving
forgot.
me out.
Shit.
It's because he only does it to me.
Homer.
It's because he only does it to me.
Yeah.
My random, I picked the Falcons, who are 3-point favorites over the Seahawks.
Ooh.
Oh, Battle of the Birds.
It's gonna fly, Face.
Not the Eagles, I'll tell you that. Let's get into my picks. Let's hope that we bounce back this week. But my lock is going to be the good old Bills with my new favorite wide receiver, Amari Cooper. They're 8.5 favorites over the Titans. Titans been shit since they messed Mariota's career and they let King Henry walk. Just saying. Then my underdog is going to be if you can't beat them, join them, baby. I pulled the Kevin Durant, and I'm taking the Lions, who are 2.5 underdogs over under 2.5 favorites over.
One more time.
They're
Hold on.
underdogs.
Okay,
against
sorry.
Vikings.
So the Lions are 2.5 points underdogs against the Vikings. It's just because it says plus on there. My bad. Supposed to be minus. And then I am picking my random as the best quarterback in the league right now, Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. I believe that running duo is going to continue doing what they're doing, and they're 2.5 points favorites over the Bucks. So those
3.5.
those Pirates are going to be able to hold anything to that two running combo. I think King Henry will continue to just run over people and prove people wrong. People like me should have drafted him instead of Christian McCaffrey. So
I can't believe you didn't do that after I gave you so much shit when I got Jonathan Taylor and you got Derrick Henry, and here we are again. But wow, what an episode, boys! As you could tell, Feisty was maybe running on his last fumes there at the end. But man, that was quite an episode. Lots and lots to talk about, and you know what? Football's going to keep going. It's going to keep chugging along. So we'll be here to talk about it all. Thanks for joining us. Be sure to catch all the episodes drop in on Thursday morning. Get you ready for the football week on YouTube and Spotify. And then make sure to check out all the clips on the socials, Instagram, YouTube Shorts, and TikTok. Like, share, comment, help us grow the page. We'd really appreciate it. We enjoy doing this for you guys. Thank you, boys, for a hell of an episode. Until next time, we'll catch you and all y'all on the couch. See ya.